At the end of the Ice Age, I accumulated tens of billions of supplies. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 101. Hearing such a voice, Zhang Yi sneered. His voice made the people present shut up quickly. Did the food I gave you every day fatten up your guts? Zhang Yi's gaze swept across the crowd and landed on Guodahe. The Mediterranean fatty took 2 steps back in fright. When I was the building manager, I said that everyone must listen to me. He showed a serious smile. It's only been a few days, you guys forgot? After saying this, Zhang Yi suddenly pulled out a pistol, aimed at Guodahe's head, and pulled the trigger. Boom. Guodahe's head exploded with blood, and many girl neighbors screamed in fright. No one thought that Zhang Yi would shoot if he said to shoot, and kill if he said to kill. Anyone who disobeys will die, Zhang Yi said to everyone coldly. It wasn't until this moment that everyone suddenly remembered that Zhang Yi was not a gentle neighbor who brought them meals. He is the demon who killed most of the owners of the entire building. The scene was completely silent, and everyone dared not show their atmosphere. Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows with a nonchalant expression on his face. Go over now, kill those people from the Wild Wolf gang for me. Who is in favor, and who is against? After a few seconds of silence, Li Chengban raised his hand and said, I agree, listen to brother Zhang. Only then did the others raise their hands one after another. Listen to Zhang Yi's words. After seeing this scene, a gentle smile appeared on Zhang Yi's face again. That's right. We are all family members, and family members should help each other. Look, I'm not cheating you. I'll just kill 10 of them myself. Let dozens of you deal with the rest. Am I good enough for you? Come on, Uncle Yu and I are going out to help you find food. Let's have extra meals tonight. Everyone have a good meal. Zhang Yi's strategy of adding carrots and sticks is very effective. Although the neighbors were frightened by Guodahe's death at first, what does it have to do with them? Because it was Guodahe who died? Zhang Yi promised to find food for them again, and their dissatisfaction immediately decreased a lot. Zhang Yi held a gun in his hand and watched them go up from behind. So, whether this group of people were willing or not, they could only rush into building 21 with their guys. After a while, there were chaotic sounds and loud shouts of killing. Zhang Yi glanced at his watch. The golden Rolex was still so unpretentious and boring. Let them continue to fight. I have to go. Otherwise, I don't know what time it is when I come back. He looked at Uncle Yu. Let's go. This time you help. Going out today is still a regular search, and there is nothing special needed. So it doesn't matter if you bring Uncle Yu with you. Uncle Yu smiled, glanced at 21 number not far away, nodded and said, okay, let's go. Zhang Yi frowned slightly, clutching his ribs, as if in some pain. I can't drive the car. I bumped into it when I was fighting with them, and now my ribs hurt a little. Uncle Yu looked at the snowmobile and volunteered, then let me drive it. Zhang Yi smiled and nodded. Okay. So Uncle Yu was in charge of driving, and Zhang Yi sat behind him. The injury was fake, but he was worried about handing over his back to others. The god of war Yan Shuangiying once said, be careful of your back. The two left the community together. Uncle Yu didn't have a helmet or goggles, so he could only squint his eyes in the cold wind and let the cold wind and snow slap his face indiscriminately. But he didn't feel uncomfortable. On the contrary, he was very happy. He hasn't left the community for a long time, and during the more than half a month that he was locked in the community, he was also very depressed. Haha, it's really cool to come out. By the way, Zhang Yi, where are we going? Zhang Yi said casually, the city is so big, you can go anywhere. Let's go to the World Trade Center first. Shimeo is a famous commercial district in Xianhai City. Uncle Yu nodded. Then, relying on the memory of his surroundings, he drove towards the World Trade Center. After more than half an hour, the two arrived here. In the World Trade area at this time, many high-rise buildings seemed to grow out of the snow like bamboo shoots, half of which emerged, and half of which remained underneath. Zhang Yi and Uncle Yu got out of the car, and the two went to the building to collect things casually. Uncle Yu came out for the first time, and everything he saw in the commercial street felt fresh. especially in those commercial buildings. Many of them are counters of luxury brands. Gold and silver jewelry, designer clothes, luxury cars in the showroom. Those big name products that he didn't dare to think about before are now ownerless things, and he can take them casually. Uncle Yu was so excited, he ran in and started looking for a bag and stuffed things into it. Zhang Yi took a look and suddenly found that what he was looking for were mainly clothes, especially clothes for infants and young children. He couldn't help being a little speechless. Should he say that Uncle Yu is kind, or should he say that he licks dogs? But Zhang Yi walked over to him and said, "Uncle Yu, I've looked around here and there's no food. It looks like we've come to the wrong place." Hearing this, Uncle Yu smiled and said, "Well, it is true. But the food at home is not too short, but the child grows fast and has no clothes to wear." Zhang Yi smiled helplessly and sat on the chair next to him. "The relationship between you and Sister Z looks pretty good now," Uncle Yu said with a simple and honest smile. "Whether the relationship is good or not, they all live together. There is a woman who warms the bed, and this life has hope, isn't it?" When Zhang Yi heard this, a playful light flashed in his eyes. "If you like this, I'll introduce you to some women with big breasts and big butts later. How about letting them serve you well?" Uncle Yu turned his back to Zhang Yi, but Zhang Yi obviously felt his body shake. This is not very good. You know, I'm not that kind of person either." Zhang Yi lifted his chin, showing a "I understand what you mean" look in his eyes. He knew that Uncle Yu would go to Yuhu Street several times a month to find the female technician from Shuangfeng Barber Shop to help him solve some troubles. It's true that Uncle Yu is an upright person, but it doesn't mean he doesn't like women. If that was the case, he would not be taken down so easily by Zlimei. "Don't worry, you are all buddies. This kind of thing will be left to me in the future." Zhang Yi put his arms around his shoulders and said with a smirk, "Oh, look at you, say that again. I'm a decent man." Uncle Yu licked his lips and said so, but there was an uncontrollable smile on his face. Yes. Zhang Yi had a judgment in his heart. Uncle Yu has feelings for Zlimei, but not much. So in the future, if that Zlimei is troublesome, he can get rid of her. But in order not to affect the relationship between him and Uncle Yu, he had to help him find a caring woman with good skills and knowledge of cold and warm. Chapter 102 Weapon Information. Zhang Yi and Uncle Yu wandered around outside, casually collecting supplies. The two of them were chatting, and they mentioned things about the current situation of the community. Uncle Yu asked Zhang Yi, "Someone is already planning to attack you. They are jealous of the snowmobile in your hand. I'm afraid things will get more troublesome next time. Do you have any plans?" It is rare for Zhang Yi to chat with Uncle Yu. Hearing this question, Zhang Yi smiled dryly and said, "Are you asking me?" "I'm planning to ask you." He let out a long sigh. "Now everyone is staring at my snowmobile, knowing that it's the only means of transportation available for travel these days. Everyone wants to snatch it from me. What else can I do? I can only protect it as much as possible, and of course I have to protect myself." Uncle Yu nodded solemnly. "You are right. In this situation, it is already very difficult for you to take care of us. It is impossible to take care of thousands of people in the entire community." Zhang Yi said, "You are right. So now I can only take one step at a time and slowly figure out a way." Uncle Yu pondered for a while, then said, "Actually, Huang Xianfang contacted me this morning." Zhang Yi's clear eyes became sharp in an instant. "What is he doing with you?" The back of Uncle Yu's head was facing Zhang Yi, so he didn't notice the change in expression. He said, "Huang Xianfang is already scared of being beaten by you, so he wants to ask for peace. In addition, he also revealed to me one thing, that is, in other unit buildings, some people are already organizing alliances. They want to put pressure on you together. Someone invited him. He doesn't need to join those people, but he needs you to provide food and cold protection supplies." Zhang Yi let out an "oh." Calluses grew in his ears when he listened to this request. Nor was it unexpected. Now everyone really wants to fuck me. It's really scary. Zhang Yi's tone was cowardly, but there was no trace of fear in his eyes. If it wasn't for ammunition, as long as he was given enough time, he could even wipe out the entire community. Of course, this timeline may be longer, just to be on the safe side. But if Huang Xian lets this bastard go, I will definitely kill him. One is his Cheyenne gang, and the other is the group of people from the Mad Wolf gang. I will not let go of any of them. Zhang Yi's voice was very flat, as if he was talking about an insignificant matter. But the words revealed a serious killing intent. It was they who launched the attack on Zhang Yi first, so Zhang Yi must let them die. In order to live well in the last days, he does not allow anyone who will threaten his safety to exist. Uncle Yu said, they really deserve to die. They killed too many innocent people indiscriminately, and even attacked you on their own initiative. But, if you fight with them, are the weapons in your hand enough? Since Zhang Yi emptied the arsenal of the police station, he obtained a large number of weapons and ammunition. But how much, Uncle Yu didn't know. All he knew was that when Zhang Yi came back that day, his body was clean, and he didn't see much. Therefore, he thought that after these few days of fighting, Zhang Yi had almost exhausted his bullets. A flash of light flashed in Zhang Yi's eyes, and then he let out a long and helpless sigh. It is indeed difficult in this regard. I don't have many bullets in my hand. However, as long as it is not a large-scale battle, it should be able to handle it. Uncle Yu scratched his head. Zhang Yi, if we have enough weapons and equipment, do you think we can successfully protect our home and your snowmobile? This sudden sentence made Zhang Yi's eyes brighten instantly. Uncle Yu, do you know where there are weapons? Zhang Yi still has a lot of weapons and ammunition in his hands, but the sniper rifle has fewer bullets. After all, the police station will not store a lot of this kind of thing. Even the police sniper rifle was found only one. For other weapons and ammunition, of course, the more the better. All fear comes from insufficient firepower. Uncle Yu smiled with a bit of complacency in his expression. Have you forgotten what I used to do? I was a soldier in the army for 5 years. Zhang Yi hurriedly asked, are you a soldier in Cheyenne City? In that case, Uncle Yu can take him to the military camp in Cheyenne City to collect weapons. Uncle Yu said, I was early at that time, and I was not serving in Cheyenne City. But there are also old acquaintances of mine in the army in Cheyenne City. I know where that place is. As long as you go to the barracks and find the ammunition in reserve, you don't need to worry about bullets in the future. He looked at Zhang Yi with some admiration. If a sharpshooter, like you, doesn't have ammunition, wouldn't that be a waste of talent? The army has always admired the strong. And a gun king is the god in the hearts of all soldiers. Uncle Yu had seen Zhang Yi's terrifying marksmanship, so he naturally admired him. Zhang Yi was ecstatic. He didn't expect that there would be an unexpected harvest this time. Then what are you waiting for? Let's hurry over. There are too many hot weapons in the army. In case tanks, armored vehicles and the like can be obtained at that time, he will directly drive over and blast those who refuse to accept him to death. At that time, who would dare to fight against Zhang Yi? Uncle Yu, you are such a treasure. Zhang Yi's eyes glistened. Uncle Yu scratched his head. He was a little embarrassed to see Zhang Yi so excited. Don't worry. I haven't finished talking yet. That place is relatively remote, in the northwest of the city, and we have to go there for more than 100 kilometers. Besides, although I know there is a military camp there, don't put your hopes too high. After all, it has been snowing for so long, and it's not easy to find the right direction. Even if it's over, everything may be buried in the snow. The barracks are all located on the edge of the city, while the garrison camps in Cheyenne City are all located in the countryside. It was surrounded by farmland and wasteland, and after being buried by heavy snow, it was difficult to find the location. Zhang Yi calmed down and said seriously, can you confirm where the location is by spending a little more time? Uncle Yu said, I'm very familiar with the surrounding area. There are no high-rise buildings, but there are still front houses on the 6th floor. Look carefully, and you should be able to confirm the location. I'm just afraid that the barracks will be buried in the snow, and it's useless to go there. After all, we have no way to dig. A mysterious smile appeared on the corner of Zhang Yi's mouth. Digging, he is familiar with this. It doesn't matter, at least find a place first, in case you think of a way later. Can't you use it? His face became serious, and he reached out to pat Uncle Yu on the shoulder. Now we may face a lot of enemies, and we must have more weapons to protect ourselves and our family. Uncle Yu nodded vigorously. You're right, let's go and look for it. The two got on the motorcycle, braved the cold wind and heavy snow, and began to drive towards the northwest of Cheyenne City. Chapter 103 Finding the Barracks. It is very windy and snowy, and the speed of the snowmobile cannot be too fast, otherwise there is a danger of overturning. Zhang Yi and Uncle Yu kept their speed at 2 yards per hour, and it took more than 2 hours to reach the wilderness in the northwest. After leaving the architectural complex of the city, the landmark is basically lost. The ice and snow with a thickness of more than 10 meters covered almost everything that could be covered on the ground. There was a vast expanse of whiteness in front of him. Uncle Yu temporarily stopped the car on the side of the road and checked the direction after several observations. He pointed to a protruding white mountain in the distance and said, "Fortunately, there is still this thing to see. It's not far away, about 5 kilometers away." Zhang Yi nodded, full of anticipation in his heart. The two arrived at the foot of the mountain in a short while. On the ground, scattered and protruding buildings can still be vaguely seen. Uncle Yu said, "It's near here. As for the specific location of the barracks, I have to confirm it again." "Okay, let's look for it carefully," Zhang Yi said. The two parked their motorcycles on the side of the road and then started to get out of the car to look for the direction of the military camp. There are very few high-rise buildings in the military camp, and the dormitories are also 2 or 3 floors, which is for the convenience of emergency gathering. Coupled with the relatively large area of the military camp, this increases the difficulty of searching. If it weren't for Uncle Yu, a seasoned horse who knows the way, to lead the way, if Zhang Yi came here by himself, he would have to search for 10 days and a half months. The two searched for a while, and suddenly, Uncle Yu saw a building not far away, and his eyes lit up. "Found it," he said in surprise. "Have you found the location of the barracks?" Zhang Yi also quickly looked over. Uncle Yu shook his head, pointed at the golden signboard on the building. "I found the bathing center." Zhang Yi's expression suddenly became speechless, and he squinted at Uncle Yu. Uncle Yu laughed and said, "Don't worry. As long as I find this place, I can determine the location of the barracks," he explained to Zhang Yi. It turned out that this bathing center was opened by his comrades in arms. Uncle Yu would come here once or twice a year. There is a Kyankan bathing center inside. Kan? Wonderful. Looking at the golden signboard, Zhang Yi couldn't help applauding. The owner of this bathing center is indeed a talent. But he asked curiously, "The bathing center is opened outside the barracks? Can there be business?" Uncle Yu smiled and said, "You don't understand that, do you? It's good to do business here. Life in the army is very boring. Most soldiers don't have girlfriends. Young people are full of energy and need to vent. And they have no place to spend money in the army. The monthly supplies are down, so they have to find a place to spend it. In addition, they have good physical fitness, strong firepower, and will not cause trouble. Therefore, they are especially popular in bathing centers." What Uncle Yu said clearly and logically. When talking about his past experience in the army, there was light shining in his eyes. Zhang Yi said with a smile, "Then the leaders in the army don't care?" Uncle Yu said, "Of course this kind of thing is not allowed in discipline. But the leader also understands that the soldiers have needs, so they just turn a blind eye." He pointed to the plaque that read "There is heaven and earth inside," and said, "In short, as long as you see this, you will know the general orientation of the barracks." Uncle Yu turned to look north, stood in the wind, and watched carefully for a while, and suddenly pointed to a distant direction. "There. Do you see that watchtower?" Zhang Yi squinted his eyes and watched carefully, only to see a small black dot in the wind and snow. "Saw." Uncle Yu said, "That's where the barracks are." Zhang Yi glanced at Uncle Yu, "But the size of the barracks is not small. I just confirmed the location of the barracks. How can we find their arsenal?" Uncle Yu said, "A few years ago, I came to see my old comrades in arms, and I also went into the yard. I still remember the approximate location of the arsenal." Zhang Yi hurriedly said, "Go. Let's go and have a look." As long as he knows the approximate location, he can dig it up with an excavator next time he comes over. The two got on the snowmobile and then galloped all the way there. Soon, Uncle Yu pointed out the direction to Zhang Yi. "It's almost here. Hey, what a pity, we came too late. Now it's all covered with snow." Uncle Yu had a guilty expression on his face. "I'm sorry, Zhang Yi. Maybe it made you go for nothing." When he came here, he still had fantasies in his heart. What if this place wasn't completely buried? But when I got to the place, I realized that this idea was too naive. Zhang Yi stared carefully at the snowfield in front of him for a while and firmly remembered the obvious signs nearby. For example, the sentry tower and the officer's office building. These have not been fully covered. After remembering these, Zhang Yi smiled at Uncle Yu. It doesn't matter, you are also kind. Maybe one day the snow will melt, so we can come here? Uncle Yu smiled embarrassedly and nodded. Zhang Yi patted him on the shoulder. Let's go, we should go back too. After running for a long time, it was getting late. It will take another 2 or 3 hours on the way back, so there is no further delay. Uncle Yu let out an hey and hurried over to drive. Within the community. Withdraw. Li Chengbin led a large group of neighbors and hurriedly retreated from the territory of the 21-number Mad Wolf gang. This time they attacked them and suffered heavy losses. Even more than a dozen people were killed. Sure enough, the away game disadvantage is too great. Although there are many of them, the opponent is well prepared, and there are many traps inside, so they won't take advantage of it at all. However, they also killed 5 or 6 people on the opposite side, which is considered a good result. Because the weather was too cold, everyone was out of breath after the fight, and felt that it was unwise to continue to attack upstairs, so they chose to retreat. On the way back, Li Chengbin wrung his fingers, thinking about how much reward Zhang Yi would give him when he came back, and felt a little flattered in his heart. But there are also people who are very depressed, with displeasure written on their faces. I really don't know the significance of this attack. More than a dozen people died in vain. Isn't it the same as the Cheyenne gang last time? We killed more people than we killed. If the fight continues like this, all of our people will die. Is it just to vent his anger on Zhang Yi? Just a little bit. My head was chopped off. Zhang Yi asked us to attack, but he took Uncle Yu and ran away. Obviously the two of them are the best at fighting, but they hide behind and refuse to attack. Such a voice came from a few middle-aged uncles in the neighborhood. People are old and treacherous. They contribute the least, but they complain the most. In addition, the Wild Wolf gang who attacked this time was a ruthless character, causing some people to be injured and even almost died, so they couldn't help complaining about Zhang Yi. Li Chengbin, who was walking in front, frowned when he heard this and cursed. What are you talking about? Be honest, don't talk nonsense. If Zhang Yi didn't bring us food, I don't know how many people in our building would starve to death. Can you still scream here? Chapter 104. What Li Chengbin said didn't shut up those complainers. Anyway, it was a fat man wearing glasses who sneered and said, Li Chengbin, you are about the same age as Zhang Yi. So you recognize Zhang Yi as your father? Didn't you see that he used us all as cannon fodder? The lethality of the word cannon fodder is undoubtedly huge. The faces of the other neighbors also changed after hearing this. After all, over the past few days, due to successive attacks on the Cheyenne gang and the Wild Wolf gang, they have killed more than a dozen people. Others felt chills down their spines when they thought that this might be their end. Li Chengbin pointed at him and cursed. Don't talk nonsense. At least, we can eat now. It's all given by Zhang Yi. The fat man's name was Luan Kayang, and he sneered contemptuously. It's true that he gave us food. I admit, I was quite moved at first. Speaking of this, he gritted his teeth and shouted, but what happened later? He insisted on forcing us to fight with others. This is pushing us into the pit of fire. Obviously, as long as we just stay in our own unit building, why should we beat others? We guarantee our own safety and let Zhang Yi find food for us every day. This is the best result. It's him. He just wanted to make trouble and offend people in other buildings. He really made other people anxious. What should we do when he comes to attack us in the future? Having said that, Luan Kang dropped another bombshell. And according to my observation, he never eats the food he brought us. So he must secretly keep the good ones for himself, but let us eat junk food. There are so many supermarkets and shopping malls outside. He said every day how difficult it is to collect food. Do you really believe it? He just took the big guy for a fool. These words touched the hearts of many people. At first, they all thought that they only needed to quietly guard 25 number. Then Zhang Yi would go out and bring them a lot of food to fill them up. But who would have thought that Zhang Yi would let them go out to fight against others? How cruel it is. They don't want to die, so why let them die? Among the crowd, a woman also bowed her head and said, "It's not right for Zhang Yi to do this. There's no need to let us die for nothing, right?" Emotions are contagious, not to mention they are on the same page right now. One after another, others also began to express their dissatisfaction. "We work hard every day, and he just needs to go out and find something and come back. He just relied on having a snowmobile. How could his contribution be as great as ours? That's right, if you give me his car, I can go out and find food. What's the problem?" I think Luan Kang is right. In his heart, he intends to let us be cannon fodder and follow his words, to risk our lives with others. Li Chengben's hand holding the shovel was a little loose, and he suddenly shouted angrily, "Enough. Don't say such things again. Be careful that Zhang Yi will find out and kill you all." The big guys were stunned and closed their mouths. At this time, Luan Kang walked up to Li Chengben with a sinister face, lowered his voice and said, "We have all said these words. Are you going to inform Zhang Yi to kill us all?" Everyone looked at Li Chengben in unison. If Li Chengben dared to say a word that dissatisfied them, they would kill Li Chengben now. Li Chengben's back felt cold, and he swallowed a mouthful of saliva with difficulty. "I didn't mean that. We are all neighbors. And if you are dead, can I still live? Don't worry, I won't tell the truth." Luan Kang laughed and said, "That's right. All of us are just making fun of it, nothing else." Others also laughed and said, "That's right. Why are you so serious? When I was at work, I often scolded the leaders and bosses. Don't I have to keep up with my shift?" Everyone has smiles on their faces, but something strange appeared in the eyes. After all, too many people have died in the past few days, and everyone will have some thoughts in their hearts. Soon after, Zhang Yi and Uncle Yu came back with 2 packs of junk food. After knowing the situation of the battle, he pretended to comfort everyone and gave Zhang Lei and Li Chengben 2 rewards of braised pork rice in public. Other neighbors also got food for more than 2 people. However, Zhang Yi felt that everyone's emotions were not quite right this time. Although they didn't say anything, there was some rejection of him in their eyes. Zhang Yi sneered in his heart. He knew that these people began to doubt him. But so what? He knew this group of neighbors too well. He had a wicked heart but no guts, and he was so frightened by Chen Zhenghao's pistol that he let him be slaughtered. Now they are no longer willing to be cannon fodder for Zhang Yi, but Zhang Yi can make them kneel and lick immediately with a gun and a piece of moldy bread. A bunch of lowly bastards. There's no need to treat them as human beings. On Uncle Yu's side, he smiled and gave Zilimo the clothes he had collected. Zilimo's eyes lit up, and she happily took the clothes into her hands. The clothes that Uncle Yu found for Zilimo were all famous brands, and even because he didn't understand, he asked Zhang Yi to help. Zilimo had never worn such expensive clothes. Seeing that she and her child had new clothes, she couldn't help but hugged Uncle Yu's arm and said affectionately, "Brother Yu, you are so kind." When the neighbors saw those new cotton clothes, they couldn't help feeling jealous. Luan Kang boldly said, "Zhang Yi, next time you go out, can you bring some clothes back for us all? The best is a down jacket, or..." He looked at the professional grade cold-proof jacket on Zhang Yi's body, swallowed greedily, pointed at him and said, "Like the one on yours. You should be able to find it, right? The quality of the clothes is good or bad. You can tell by whether they shake or not when they are outside." Every time they saw Zhang Yi's calm and relaxed look, they knew that Zhang Yi's clothes were top quality items to keep out the cold. Everyone's eyes showed longing, and they all looked at Zhang Yi. "Zhang Yi, since Uncle Yu can find it, then you can help us bring some back next time." Zhang Yi frowned slightly and sneered in his heart. "You really have enough to push your feet. You can eat enough. Do you know how many people are envious and jealous? Still want to get dressed?" He smiled and nodded. "If there is a chance in the future, I will help you all find it. But my car is too small, and I can't carry much. Otherwise, I won't bring you food and go to find clothes." Everyone objected again and again. "That won't work. We still have the clothes we are wearing. Although it is not so warm, we can't freeze to death. But there is no food, and the taste is too uncomfortable." Zhang Yi nodded slowly. "Then let's find something to eat first. When I have a chance in the future, I will definitely help you find clothes to keep out the cold. Let you guys never feel cold again." Zhang Yi smiled brightly. Chapter 105. Zhang Yi sent out today's food. Since more than a dozen people died in the past 2 days, he saved a lot of food. Many figures he was familiar with disappeared before his eyes. For example, Fang Yuqing and Lin Caning have not seen each other for a few days, and they probably died of cold and hunger. When Zhang Yi returned home, Zhao Kai came out of the kitchen wearing an apron, and said with a gentle smile, "You're back, master." Looking at the gentle and virtuous Zhao Kai, Zhang Yi's mood improved slightly. After a long time, Zhao Kai has gotten used to the role of Zhang Yi's servant. She is a smart woman who knows that being a vine that climbs a big tree in the last days is the happiest thing. Therefore, she will satisfy Zhang Yi's various requirements. Even things that Zhang Yi didn't take the initiative to mention, she will try her best to complete them. "What are you doing?" Zhang Yi asked, while taking off his winter clothes. Zhao Kai squatted down, helped Zhang Yi fetch slippers, and put his snow boots on the shoe rack beside him. "Potato stewed beef brisket, don't you like this very much?" "I'm trying to make it. I just don't know if it tastes good." Zhang Yi also wanted to eat something hot at this time, to warm his stomach. He sat on the sofa, and Zhao Kai fetched foot washing water for him. Stepping into the warm hot water with both feet, the feeling of comfort and relaxation instantly made Zhang Yi's body less tense. "Today I ran in the wind and snow all day. Even with all kinds of cold protection equipment, I still feel a little cold." Only at this time, he will feel how comfortable it is to have a warm home. Today he is generally in a very good mood. With the specific location of the barracks, next time I can go there alone and dig out the arsenal below. There must be many times more weapons and ammunition in the barracks than in the police station. Moreover, there may be some powerful military weapons, such as grenades, RPG, even tanks, armored vehicles. Zhang Yi shook his head. Those things are not equipped by ordinary troops. And with their tonnage, taking them out in the snow and sinking directly into the snowdrift is not easy to use. However, we can definitely get a lot of weapons and ammunition. With these weapons, no one here can pose a threat to me. When you are happy, you will naturally think of some unhappy things. For example, being secretly attacked by members of the Mad Wolf gang. Fortunately, his whole body was tightly wrapped with equipment, and he still had a gun and enough bullets in his hand. Otherwise, how could he beat 10 people in the snowdrift if he fought in close quarters? The dire wolf gang, I must destroy them. But they are also stubborn. Knowing the firepower in my hand, they can't shrink back. I don't dare to attack easily. How can I deal with them? Zhang Yi was lost in thought. If you attack a tall building, it must be stupid to attack by force. They have a lot of room to retreat, but behind the attacker is snow, which makes it difficult to move, and has no cover. In addition, the corridors are relatively narrow and the environment is complicated, so it is very difficult to overcome the above. If they are like me, using Molotov cocktails for fire attacks, they will be suffocated to death, if they are not burned to death. When thinking of this, Zhang Yi's eyes suddenly lit up. Fire attack. Yes, you can use fire attack. He recalled the news that he often saw before. A certain residential building caught fire, and the smoke billowed, making it impossible for people on the upper floors to escape, and they were choked to death in the end. The more Zhang Yi thought about it, the more he felt that there was something to this matter. People can't get in, but the smoke can. And the smoke floats upwards, so it's useless for them to escape to the upper floors. The temperature outside is too low, and they usually block the doors and windows, which will make them choke to death faster. If they plan to open the window and escape, jump off one, and I will kill the other. Zhang Yi clapped his hands happily, saying that this method is very good, and it is an excellent means to deal with enemies hiding in the building. But here comes the problem again. If you want to set fire, it must be a big fire. The wood that can be used for fire in each building has been demolished except for the doors. Zhang Yi also thought of a way. There are a lot of trees outside. I will cut down more these days. It just so happens that these trees are damp, and they cannot be completely oxidized when burned, and the smoke generated is thicker. Just pour some gasoline on it. Absolutely. Zhang Yi figured out how to deal with those who were hiding in the house, and couldn't help feeling better. Zhao Kai brought the prepared dinner. Zhang Yi took a sip, and praised with a smile. The craftsmanship has improved. Zhao Kena was overjoyed when she heard Zhang Yi's praise. Really? If you like to eat, I can make it for you every day. Zhang Yi smiled and nodded. When the two of them were eating, Zhao Kena sat opposite Zhang Yi. In Zhang Yi's mind, he was still thinking about how to solve the problems of those troublesome neighbors in the community recently. He had a preliminary plan in mind, not to have a large-scale conflict with them for the time being. Even if you want to fight, you have to wait until you have collected the wood for setting fire and unearthed a large number of weapons from the barracks. Only then can he be % sure that he will kill those guys who intend to harm him in one fell swoop. While eating, Zhao Kena suddenly said to Zhang Yi, in the past 2 days, it seems that a lot of people died in our unit. Zhang Yi's thoughts were interrupted by Zhao Kena. He glanced at the woman in front of him and said in a flat tone, "Oh, really?" Then, Zhao Kena continued, "I think they seem to have some resentment towards you. You'd better be careful." Zhao Kena's eyes showed concern for Zhang Yi. Women are very sensitive. She is keenly aware of the changes in the neighbors today. Zhang Yi smiled softly, and he reached out and rubbed her soft face. "Don't worry, if you need to remind me of this kind of thing, I don't know how many times I have died." Zhao Kena said seriously, the proportion of their deaths these days is too high, and some people may change their minds. I'm worried that they will collude with people from other units, which will be bad for you. Zhang Yi nodded, but his expression was disapproving. It doesn't matter. If they want to betray, they can betray. Anyway, I didn't trust any of them from the beginning to the end. It can even be said that I will kill them all sooner or later. It's nothing new for these bastard neighbors to turn against Zhang Yi. Zhao Kena covered her mouth in surprise and then said discouragedly, "I'm still worrying about you here. It seems that worrying is for nothing. You are much more cruel than them." Although there was some regret on her lips, her heart was at ease. With such a reliable man by her side, her safety is guaranteed. Zhao Kena suddenly thought of a question. Zhang Yi said that he didn't trust anyone. So, what about her? The two lived together for a period of time, and Zhao Kena gave him all her most precious things, and she also developed a strong dependence on him in her heart. Women are emotional animals. Even if they are extremely intelligent, it is difficult to extricate themselves from it. Therefore, she hopes that she is different from others. "Zhang Yi, do you trust me?" Zhao Kena looked at Zhang Yi with a hint of expectation in his eyes. It could even be said to be pleading. In such a time, when people were weak and no one could trust her, she also longed for some warmth. Zhang Yi looked at her and said without hesitation, "Care, you are the only person I trust in this world." There seemed to be stars twinkling in Zhao Kena's eyes, and her face quickly turned rosy. Are you lying again to make me happy?" Zhang Yi shook his head. "Of course not. You are unique. No one can do it except you." His eyes were firm, as if what he said was true. Zhao Kena's eyes were slightly moist, and she believed what Zhang Yi said in her heart, and she couldn't help being moved. Zhang Yi smiled softly and took a piece of beef brisket for her. "Come, eat something." Looking at Zhao Kena's happy face, Zhang Yi sighed softly in his heart. Women are so easy to deal with, just don't feel guilty when telling lies. Zhang Yi really likes Zhao Kena, but the only person he loves is himself. But he had to convince Zhao Kena that he loved Zhao Kena. In this world, the best way to CPU alone is of course to use emotion. This is the same as when you go to work in a company. Isn't the company's leader talking about feelings with you, still calling employees family? It's just that when people fire you, they will be ruthless. Only if Zhao Kena thinks so and is devoted to Zhang Yi, can Zhang Yi's rear be stable. After eating, Zhang Yi planned to take a bath. Zhao Kena stood up blushing and asked, do you want me to wipe your back?" Zhang Yi looked at her, and Zhao Kena looked at him with more affection than before. Zhang Yi nodded. "It's okay. It's really not convenient to take a bath alone to wipe your back. It's better to be happy alone than to be happy together. Let's wash together." He hasn't tried the Mandarin duck bath yet. Zhang Yi walked over and helped Zhao Kena take off her clothes one by one, then carried her into the bathroom. Chapter 106 Sky Marine Camp. At this time, the neighbors at 25 number curled up at home and had dinner with the food given by Zhang Yi. They haven't bathed for almost a month, and their bodies are very itchy, and some even have skin ringworm. but there is no way they can't get so much hot water. Even if they can use a kettle to boil water, they have to keep it for drinking. How dare they take a bath? As long as you get sick after taking a bath, you can only wait for death now. Zhang Yi and Li Chengbin are roommates. They are good brothers in college, and they also work in the same company after graduation. The relationship cannot be more iron. That night, the two were in a good mood, because Zhang Yi gave them each a box of braised pork rice. These 2 boxes of stewed pork rice were obtained from the shelves of the supermarket, and they had been frozen hard for a long time. But it didn't bother them. They stuffed the stewed pork rice under the down jacket and heated it for 10 minutes, and the rice was ready to bite. In the pitch black room, 2 people were wrapped in thick blankets and quilts, with only their heads exposed. Zhang Yi pulled out a piece of stewed meat with a spoon, stuffed it into his mouth, and chewed for a long time. Finally tasted the taste of stewed meat. He had a happy expression on his face. Being able to eat this at this time is equivalent to eating a top-notch meal. Fortunately, we got along with Zhang Yi back then. Now we can all eat stewed pork, Zhang Yi said happily. But at the side, Li Chengbin remained silent, gnawing on the rice in his hand. That's right, it's not eating, it's chewing. After all, the rice and meat were frozen together, so he hated the trouble of using a spoon, so he put his face on it and ate it. Seeing that Li Chengbin didn't speak, Zhang Yi thought he didn't hear, so he poked him with his elbow. Hey, do you think I'm right? Let's follow Zhang Yi from now on. Didn't you see Zhao Ke? That guy is still glamorous, and his clothes are famous brands. Canada Goose. The scariest thing is, she seems to be able to take a bath. Zhang Yi's eyes are full of envy. The way he cleans now is to rub the dust on his body with his hands, and it will form a long strip. But later he was reluctant to rub it, because it can keep warm. Li Chengbin glanced at him, and said in a muffled voice, "What's the use of envying others? You don't have that condition." Zhang Yi sighed. "It's true, we don't have the parts. Otherwise, I have to try it." He looked at his brother and smiled. "But before that, I will let you have a good time." Li Chengbin said angrily, "Get out, just like you. I don't want anything for nothing." Zhang Yi argued, "Don't think it's dirty, at worst I'll use my mouth." "Shut up, shut up. The more you talk, the more disgusting you will be." The atmosphere between the two began to become somewhat delicate. After a moment of silence, Li Chengbin said in a deep voice, "Zhang Yi, do you feel that Zhang Yi is actually using us as cannon fodder when he gives us something to eat? He doesn't want us to live at all." Zhang Yi's eyes widened. "What do you mean?" Li Chengbin told Zhang Yi what the neighbors said during the day. Zhang Yi also fell silent. "What can you do if you talk about those useless things? It's not that I didn't think about killing him at the beginning and then rob their house and food. But we couldn't do him, and we were almost killed by him. In this world now, whoever has a hard fist is the father. If he can give us a bite of food, we have to be obedient." Li Chengbin remained silent. At this moment, their mobile phones rang. Li Chengbin took out his cell phone from his pocket, and after glancing at the news, his eyes suddenly became serious. In this seriousness, there is also a trace of tension and excitement that is inexplicable. The next day, Zhang Yi left the community on a motorcycle as usual. Since he was attacked once yesterday, he made a big circle this time, and went out in a different direction. He didn't call Uncle Yu today, because he was going to the military camp, to dig out the buried weapons and equipment. By the way, find some trees, and cut them down for later use. Last night, Li Jian, Chen Lingyu and others contacted him again. It was nothing more than asking Zhang Yi how he was thinking. Zhang Yi just perfunctory them, and then said that he had to think about it again. But he could clearly sense that some people's temperaments were beginning to become irritable. Zhang Yi didn't care about their attitudes, he only wanted to see when these people would take action. After all, if the people in the 29th building want to unite the front, it will take some time to negotiate. This time is enough for him to make perfect preparations. It took 2.5 hours, and Zhang Yi came to the place where he came yesterday according to his memory. There is a large expanse of white snow under the feet, except for the reference not far away, there is nothing around it. Zhang Yi took out the excavator from the different space, and started digging down like last time. After gaining experience, Zhang Yi became a lot more proficient at operating the excavator. After another busy day, he dug to the house below. Zhang Yi didn't know if this was a weapon arsenal, but after digging into a house, even breaking through the wall to make a hole was more convenient than digging snow. So he jumped down and searched carefully, only to find that this place was not a weapon depot, but a dormitory for soldiers. Although I found the wrong place, at least I saw the building, which means that the arsenal is not too far away from here. However, Zhang Yi noticed a strange thing when he entered the dormitory. It stands to reason that with the heavy snowfall, almost all means of transportation on land could not be used. Then these soldiers stay here. Once the snow is heavy, they will not be able to leave. So there must be many corpses to be found in the barracks. But when he entered the dormitory, he found that the quilts inside were neatly folded, and the sheets had been smoothed out and he didn't even notice a soldier who froze to death. It's strange. Why is there no one? Zhang Yi couldn't figure out where all the soldiers here went. He went to the next few dormitories to check, and it was the same scene inside. Could it be that they all left here? An idea came to Zhang Yi's mind, and he thought it was the most likely. After the snowstorm came, those high-level officials must have obtained accurate information at the first time, knowing that the end of the world was inevitable. So they need to go to the shelter, and these soldiers are transferred by them to protect their safety and transport supplies. Thinking of this, Zhang Yi's head cleared up, combined with the empty warehouses in the warehouse area he saw before. The truth is that a small number of high-level officials probably completed the transfer on the night of the snow disaster. It's just that ordinary people didn't get the slightest news about all this. They are hiding somewhere at this time, waiting for the disaster to pass before they come out and continue to rule the world. A trace of vigilance rose in Zhang Yi's heart, because he knows that the disaster will not be able to survive for a while, and after a long time of baptism, everyone's heart will change. At that time, some armed forces may appear and become a huge threat. But that time will not come too soon, because now they still maintain a minimum order. Chapter 107 The Great Harvest. Zhang Yi didn't have so much time to think here. The days were long and the nights were short. If he didn't hurry to find the arsenal, it might be dark when he went back. But after digging into the dormitory, at least there is a reference. Zhang Yi climbed onto the snow surface from the dormitory and then began to compare the surrounding reference objects again. In my mind, I recalled the direction that Uncle Yu said yesterday. The excavator continued to work, and it didn't take long this time before Zhang Yi found the location of the weapon depot. The arsenal was tightly sealed, and because it was blocked by heavy snow, it was hard to see the whole picture, but it felt like a cement box. Zhang Yi found the iron gate with a heavy silver lock hanging on it. Zhang Yi took out the crowbar and exhausted all his efforts. He was busy for a long time without prying the door open. It's really not that easy to pry open the armory in the army, but I dare not use a gun. Zhang Yi put his hands on his hips, and when he was thinking, he suddenly remembered that he was driving an excavator. He slapped his forehead, quickly got on the excavator, and directly broke the door lock with the machine. Then, he couldn't wait to enter the arsenal. Open the steel door in front of you. The scene inside is enough to make every man's blood boil. It was the first time Zhang Yi saw a real weapon arsenal, and it was different from what he had imagined. There were no piles of bullet boxes in the big iron cabinet. There are many iron racks against the wall in the arsenal, on which are placed a handful of dart guns, all of which are rifles. There are also some grey-green boxes made of unknown metals on the iron frame, which look very heavy. There are some camouflage uniforms and helmets hanging on the wall, and Zhang Yi even saw some camouflage spray paint placed under the iron frame. Zhang Yi took a deep breath, and first put all the rifles into his different space. There are too many guns in his hand now, and he can't run out of them. Unless he wants to form a doomsday survival team one day in the future, none of them will have a chance to see the sun again. But Zhang Yi doesn't care about that. Put it away first, in case it is useful in the future. He is not very interested in these firearms. What he mainly wants to find are bullets, grenades and even RPG and other equipment. Since it was in the weapon room, Zhang Yi's movements were very careful. He opened those iron boxes one by one, and it turned out that they were bullets of various types. Zhang Yi had studied firearms in the shooting club, and he still understood the basic bullets suitable for firearms. In this arsenal, there are about 2,000 rounds of pistol bullets and more than 5,000 rounds of various rifle bullets. There are also more than 300 rounds of sniper rifle bullets. In addition, he also found a military sniper rifle. Different from the police model he used, this military sniper rifle has a better ability to adapt to the environment, and its waterproof, dustproof and even frostproof capabilities are very good. But the accuracy is worse than the police. But for Zhang Yi, this is not a problem at all, and he can make up for it with his supernatural precision shooting. What surprised Zhang Yi even more was that he found 10 boxes of grenades, 5 in each box, or 50. This search has already been a bumper harvest for Zhang Yi. If they all go out to perform tasks, they really need to bring equipment. So the equipment in this warehouse is less than half. Since the snowstorm came suddenly, they left in a hurry and had no time to dispose of the remaining supplies. But these amounts are completely enough for Zhang Yi personally. However, there should be more than one weapon warehouse in the barracks. According to Uncle Yu, the troops stationed in Xianhe City have the strength of a regiment, that is, about 1,500 people. So it is impossible to only have this small weapon warehouse right now. Zhang Yi collected the things in front of him, and after going out, he continued to use the excavator to clear the snow along the concrete wall of the house. Sure enough, soon he found another arsenal next to it. There are fewer weapons and equipment in this arsenal than the one just now. But Zhang Yi also found thousands of bullets and 2 boxes of grenades. From the current point of view, it is completely enough. A satisfied smile appeared on Zhang Yi's face. Relying on these weapons and equipment, basically no one can pose a threat to him in Xianhe City if it is a competition of force. He has never used the grenade, but he can ask Uncle Yu for advice or look up how to use it online. As for the other heavy firearms, Zhang Yi did not find them. After all, Xianhe City is stationed with an infantry army, and there are no artillery or chariots. As for other weapons such as heavy machine guns, they must have been taken away during their missions. If it weren't for the speed of the snowstorm attack, I'm afraid that these weapons and ammunition picked up by Zhang Yi would be hard to keep. Anyway, these weapons are more than enough for me, and it also pointed me in a direction to get weapons through police stations and troops everywhere. Every city of a certain size has a police station and garrisons. Zhang Yi has transportation, so he can cross the city in the future to search for weapons and equipment in nearby satellite cities. Zhang Yi searched the vicinity again, and after confirming that there was nothing else of value, he drove a motorcycle and left the barracks. He didn't go far. The surrounding area is wilderness, and a lot of trees have been planted, which just meet the standards Zhang Yi needs. He directly used an excavator to break these trees down the middle, and then took them into his own space. This time he was busy for a long time, and he didn't go back until night. At this time, the neighbors in the whole building are waiting for him to come back and distribute food. But this time Zhang Yi came back empty-handed. After seeing the neighbors, Zhang Yi spread his hands together. I searched many places today, but I didn't find any food. Just bear with it, everyone. People can't feed too much, because when they are full, they tend to have messy thoughts. For example, yesterday, some people went overboard and started asking for clothes. Zhang Yi deliberately didn't get anything back today, just to let them remember, I raised you all, don't push your nose on my face, obediently obey me, if you want to eat. When Zhang Yi said that there was no food, the neighbors muttered, what? Why didn't you eat anything today? No way. There are so many places outside. Why can't you search for more? There is nothing to eat here. How uncomfortable at night. Have you worked hard all day and you have nothing to gain? Zhang Yi looked at the chattering crowd with a smile. Are you finished? Everyone looked terrified and closed their mouths with displeasure. Recently you seem to be a little drifting. Forgot that you begged me to save you at the beginning. Could it be that it hasn't been a few days and you think it's only natural for me, Zhang Yi, to bring you food? If that's the case, then it's better for the big guys to shoot and break up. From now on, you can handle your food yourself. Everyone was shocked. Li Chengbin hurriedly said, Brother Zhang, that's not what you mean. Everyone understands your hard work. It's hard to search for food with the heavy snow outside. You should go back and rest first. Chapter 108. Zhang Yi spread out his hands. Then today will be like this. After speaking, he waved his hand and let everyone leave. However, Luan Qiang, who had been among the crowd, suddenly spoke. Zhang Yi, of course it's not easy to find if you go out alone. Otherwise, you should bring a few more people with you. I see your motorcycle. It's no problem for 3 people. Let's help you find it together. It must be faster. The others turned their heads and looked at Zhang Yi with strange eyes. They are also very excited about being able to go out to find supplies. Especially last time, after seeing Uncle Yu help Zilimui mother and daughter find clothes. As long as they can go out, don't they just take the things outside? Zhang Yi, if you need help, everyone will be very happy. A woman said boldly. Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes slightly. He laughed. Why are you all thinking about my electric motorcycle? If it really wants to be like this, then we might as well break it up. I won't care about you from now on. Luan Qiang hurriedly wanted to explain something. At this time Zhang Yi stopped talking nonsense. He just drew his pistol. Click. Skillfully pulled the insurance. Everyone changed color suddenly and quickly backed away a long way. Zhang Yi, don't mess around. We are just discussing with you. There is no other meaning. Yes, if you don't agree, let's forget about it. Okay. We are actually very grateful to you for helping us find food, and we said that because we were afraid that you would be tired. Don't get me wrong. Zhang Yi smiled contemptuously. In the future, don't say such words that are not conducive to unity, or I've fed you too much recently. After Zhang Yi finished speaking, he raised the gun in his hand and killed Luan Qiang with a bang. No one expected that Zhang Yi would shoot directly when he disagreed with each other. They thought that Zhang Yi would reason with them, and then they took advantage of the large number of people and words to make Zhang Yi speechless and finally agreed to their request. But they forgot that they and Zhang Yi were never equal. Dialogue requires sufficient capital. There was a lot of screams at the scene, and the neighbors fled back immediately in fright. But the corridor was too narrow, crowded with people, and a large group of people tripped over immediately. If you don't kill a few people, you won't understand your status. Zhang Yi's eyes were cold, and he fired several shots at random, and 4 more people were directly killed by him. Then he stopped and watched these people run away like dogs. Only Uncle Yu and Zilimui did not run away. Uncle Yu is on Zhang Yi's side. Zilimui hid behind him as always, pretending to be an ostrich. Uncle Yu said to Zhang Yi, they are full now, and they have forgotten who they are. Zhang Yi thought in his heart, if it weren't for the usefulness of keeping them as cannon fodder, I would have killed them all long ago. On the surface, he shrugged generously. It's okay, I've always been kind. Forgive them. Now he has plenty of firepower in his hands, and he is much more unscrupulous in doing things. Zilimui took Uncle Yu's arm and looked at Zhang Yi with some fear in her heart. Kind, you better be. Come on, let's go back. Zhang Yi carried a gun and walked away at a pace that his relatives did not recognize. Now he has almost prepared, and the cannon fodder will not take long. Even if they don't die in the next battle, Zhang Yi will clean up most of them, or even all of them. So he doesn't really care if these people are dead or alive. And he knew that, even if he killed a few people, they would still have to beg him for food in the end. Sure enough, as Zhang Yi thought, everyone at 25 number was terrified by Zhang Yi, fled back to their home in a hurry, and then closed the door tightly. At this moment, they recalled the fear of being dominated by Chen Zhenghao back then. At that time, they also hid at home every day, not knowing when death would come. These owners created a new group in private, but they didn't include Zhang Yi, Zhao Ke, Uncle Yu and Zilimui. Since the end of the Ice Age, there have been at least dozens of groups in one building. The mistrust and hypocrisy between people are vividly reflected. What should we do? Now Zhang Yi is pissed off and wants to kill us. We don't have guns. How can we beat him? Someone asked nervously. After a while, the neighbors who recovered from their panic began to discuss. Zhang Yi, he doesn't make sense at all. We are just discussing with him, and he shoots every now and then. The scary thing is that he has killed so many people with guns these days. How many bullets does he have in his hands? Why does an ordinary person have so many bullets? and even a sniper rifle. I've said it a long time ago. Zhang Yi is the king of urban soldiers, or a retired special soldier. You still don't believe it? A heavy online novel lover expressed his opinion. Don't care who he is. Anyway, we shouldn't have illusions about him long ago. He's a very selfish man and everything he's done for us has come at a price. It's all lies to help us with kindness. He's not that kind at all. Yes, he just wants us to be cannon fodder under his hands, to charge for him, and seize supplies and territory. Zhang Yi was scolded in the group. Even Zhao Ke, Uncle Yu and others besides Zhang Yi were also scolded all over the place. They couldn't beat Zhang Yi, and they were as humble as ants in front of Zhang Yi. But on the internet, they can regain their self-esteem and turn into gods of war to attack Zhang Yi. After scolding for a long time, the big guy let out a bad breath, and felt much more comfortable in his heart. But a new problem came again. Although Zhang Yi is very selfish, he gives us food for a purpose. But if he doesn't give us food, what will we eat in the future? After this sentence was sent out, the chat group fell into a long silence. The owners hiding in each room looked shocked, and then began to feel extreme panic in their hearts. They thought about how life was before Zhang Yi provided them with food. They ate all the edible things in the house, even some leather belts and jackets, which were chopped up and cooked. The worst people, after starving and anxious, thought that dogs can survive by digesting excrement for the second time. So start eating shit. The most unbearable thing for people is to go from hope to despair again. They would not be afraid of the dark if they had not seen the light. But with Zhang Yi providing them with food for the past few days as a precedent, they no longer want to go back to the past. Finally, someone said, actually, when you think about it carefully, Zhang Yi is quite a good person. The people he killed are also worthy of death. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 109. Pressure from the entire community. Facing the horror of death, the owners began to miss Zhang Yi again. Someone made a head start, and in these chaotic times, others were easily mobilized. Especially now that they are all hungry, it is easier to think how delicious the food Zhang Yi provided them is. Think about it carefully. Are we asking too much of Zhang Yi? It's not easy for him to go out alone to find food in such a heavy wind and snow. And he has to find food for dozens of people. That's right, it's just that he didn't find it today, and everyone won't starve to death. So just bear with it. The few people who were beaten to death did it purely on their own. Which pot can't be opened and which pot to carry? That's right. What kind of thing are you? You dare to take advantage of other people's snowmobiles? Bah, you deserve it if you die. Hey, I remembered what you said. That Luan Kyang is the worst thing. Before he walked the dog without a leash, he almost bit me. Really? Hey, he deserves to die. He killed us before he died. Let's not talk about anything else. In short, we must persuade Zhang Yi to help us find food again. Yes, this is the only way we can survive at present. It makes sense. Their houses are made of alloy, and they can't get in by attacking. We have to beg him to take pity on us. Just as Zhang Yi thought, this group of neighbors, if you treat them a little better, they will push their noses in the face. Instead, if you treat them like pigs, dogs and animals, they will come and kneel and lick you. Confucius said it well, but women and villains are difficult to raise. If they are close, they will not be inferior, and if they are far away, they will complain. Not long after Zhang Yi returned home, someone in the group of owners at 25 number asked him, and apologized to him. Zhang Yi, we were wrong about what happened today, and I sincerely apologize to you here. I also hope that for the sake of our neighbors for many years, you will not be as knowledgeable as us. Zhang Yi, that bastard Luan Kyang was instigating it. We all don't have that idea at all. You need to learn from it. Everyone will definitely listen to you in the future, and you will be what you say. Well, go out and find some food tomorrow and come back. Everyone is really hungry. When Zhang Yi saw these messages, a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth, and he didn't bother to reply. Just let them struggle with pain and toss and turn. Should I let them play a wave of residual heat in the end, and become a death squad? Zhang Yi rubbed his chin in thought. I just need to throw 2 more pieces of moldy bread in the past, and they should be scrambling to do it. At this moment, a series of ding-dong and ding-dong sounds came over. Zhang Yi was a little curious. Most of his group chats had blocked message notifications. Why are there still? He took a look and realized what had happened. It turned out that Chen Lingyu, the building manager of 9 number, dragged him into a new group. He took a closer look and discovered the mystery of this group. There are not too many people in the group, exactly 30 including him. In it, he saw many familiar names: 18 number Li Jian, 26 number Huang Xianfang, 21 number Wang Kaiyang, 5 number Zhang Union. These people are all the current talkers of the 30-unit buildings. A sharp light flashed in Zhang Yi's eyes, and he murmured, "It seems that they are going to have a showdown with me." It is not surprising that Zhang Yi knew that this day would come sooner or later. After all, not everyone is like him, with endless supplies in their hands. Life in other buildings is like a year, and they can't afford to wait a day. Seeing Zhang Yi coming in, Chen Lingyu said, "I have already brought Zhang Yi in. Let's talk about that matter." Zhang Yi kept silent, wanting to see how this group of people discussed. As Zhang Yi's enemy, Wang Kaiyang, the head of the Mad Wolf gang at 21 number, was the first to speak, with a tone of gunpowder in his tone. "Zhang Yi, I heard that you 25 number are living a good life these days. You have food every day. You don't think about us poor neighbors when you live comfortably." Zhang Yi sneered, too lazy to argue with them. One mouth is no more than 29 mouths, especially when online. If you're pulling me in to listen to your farts, then I'm leaving now. Huang Xianfang hurriedly said. "Zhang Yi, don't worry. If you leave now, we can't guarantee what will happen." Zhang Yi sneered. "Are you threatening me?" Huang Xianfang, "I have killed so many dogs of your Xian gang. How dare you bark here? Believe it or not, I'll go over tomorrow and kill you all." At this time, Huang Xianfang, who was behind the mobile phone, felt a chill down his spine and hurriedly voiced, "Don't scare me. Now the landlords of our other 29 buildings have reached a united front. If you want to attack any of our houses, it is tantamount to attacking the others. Home. No matter how powerful you are, can you beat so many of us?" Zhang Yi's eyes flickered. Sure enough, these people have united and reached a united front. The good old man Li Jian stood up. "Okay, everyone, please don't say a few words. We established this group in the hope of reaching cooperation through negotiation. It is not to kill each other." Wang Kaiyang snorted coldly and said lazily, "Laoli, you are so talkative. Tell him what we discussed." Li Jian said, "Okay, Zhang Yi, let me explain the current situation to you." Li Jian is still very good at talking, and he explained clearly to Zhang Yi about the agreement reached in the 29 buildings. First of all, they reached a common front and unanimously put pressure on Zhang Yi's 25 number. If any family is attacked by Zhang Yi at this time, other units must provide assistance. Second, they asked Zhang Yi to also provide them with supplies to ensure their basic survival. And their condition in exchange is that they will not attack 25 number. Third, in order to ensure that Zhang Yi can earnestly fulfill his promise, Zhang Yi's snowmobile is required to be used by everyone in turn, and it cannot be placed in the hands of one person. Fourth, Zhang Yi needs to explain the resource points he has mastered. After all, the city was blocked by heavy snow outside, and even with transportation, not everyone could find supplies. Li Jian, Zhang Yi, that's it. Have you finished listening? A contemptuous sneer appeared on the corner of Zhang Yi's mouth. The hearts of this group of people are really big enough. They want to snatch his snowmobile and let him help lead the way for free to ensure the living needs of the entire community. And what they pay is the so-called sincerity, just not attacking Zhang Yi's 25 number. They deserve it too. Zhang Yi didn't lose his temper. Although these conditions are very ridiculous, even in his view, they are very funny, but from the other party's point of view, there is some truth to them. Negotiating this kind of thing is to grab each other's benefits bit by bit, and the lion's big opening is also to prepare for a better bargain in the future. However, Zhang Yi can still laugh at them. because the basis for them to put forward these conditions is based on their serious misjudgment of 25 number quotes combat effectiveness. They think that, as long as they unite, it will not be difficult to kill everyone in 25 number. But how do they know that Zhang Yi already has a lot of weapons and ammunition in his hands? If there is a real fight, the gap between the two sides is not at the same level at all. It doesn't mean that there are too many people to win the game. A drop of water from the Trisolarans can completely wipe out the space fleet of the Earth. Chapter 110 Comparing consumption with me, you sure? Zhang Yi didn't speak. He was mocking the stupidity of these people. He really wanted to see, when these people saw his true strength, what expressions of astonishment and panic would be on their faces. Do you want to kill them all now? Then clean up #25 by the way. Zhang Yi touched his chin and said to himself, with enough firepower and a way to deal with the people hiding in the building, it shouldn't be too difficult for him to kill the people in the entire community. Moreover, these bastard neighbors in the 25 number building are useless at that time, so they can be cleaned up by the way. No, there will still be security loopholes. Even if I want to kill them, I have to kill them building by building. But in case they don't want their lives, they all rush to fight with me. Thousands of people can crush me to death just by pressing them with corpses. Although these people are as cowardly as mice, the probability of doing so is not high, but it's not completely impossible. My life is worth more than this, so I can't play awkwardly. We still have to think of a more secure way. When Zhang Yi was thinking, the hosts in the chat group became a little impatient seeing that Zhang Yi hadn't answered for a long time. They felt that they had a sure chance of winning, and Zhang Yi had no other possibility except bowing his head to them. After all, in their own cognition, if they want to fight against thousands of people at the same time, there is no such awesome person in Ulu community. If so, it's a myth. Wang Qiang has already started urging, are you dumb? Talk quickly. You have to agree to this matter, and you have to agree to it if you don't agree. Otherwise, all of us will not be merciful. Chen Lingyu said, Zhang Yi, everyone doesn't want to die, they all want to live. Although I know that you may not be balanced in your heart, but in life, sometimes you have to be flexible. After all, those who know the current affairs are outstanding. Li Jian, Mr. Zhang, I think you have to think about this issue carefully. We don't want to resolve it through conflict, but we also want to live. If you agree to cooperate with us, then the material problem of the entire community can be solved well. At that time, we may be able to return to the state of the previous civilized society. Others also talked about it. Some sing red face, some sing bad face. But in the end, there is only one meaning: you, Zhang Yi, must agree to our request, otherwise, you will die. Zhang Yi glanced at the news in the group, and when his eyes flicked over the names of the hosts, an idea suddenly appeared in his mind. Catch the thief first, catch the king. If the landlords of these buildings can be killed, the remaining people will inevitably be in chaos. When the time comes, let them spend it by themselves. I'm afraid that, if Zhang Yi didn't make a move, most of the people would be killed or injured. So, he said slowly, I still have to think about this matter. You have discussed it for a long time, but you haven't given me time to think about it. Besides, I hope everyone can sit together and have a good talk. There are too many people talking here, and it is not convenient for everyone to talk. Otherwise, in a few days, let's talk to each other about cooperation. How about it? As soon as these words came out, Wang Qiang immediately replied with a sneer. Why, you want to gather all of them together and kill them, don't you? It's okay to meet, but you have to come up on our site. I think it's okay to make an appointment at our 21 number exclamation point. Zhang Yi smiled slightly. He knew that these people would not agree so easily. After all, none of the people who have survived until now are not human beings. He was not in a hurry. He just said lightly, you can also send representatives over here. However, you must negotiate with us at 25 number exclamation point. Zhang Yi's tone was very tough, with an unquestionable taste. Wang Qiang laughed loudly. Why do you have the final say? Do you think we are all idiots? Huang Xianfang also said, Zhang Yi, don't be so clever, we are not fools. Zhang Yi sneered, you don't even dare to send a few representatives over, so what are you talking about? Don't you guys like to fight? Well, don't talk about it, let's fight. The tone of both sides is very tough, and neither of them wants to be weak. When negotiating, momentum is very important, and you must not lose point, otherwise it is only at the mercy of others. At this time, old peacemaker Li Jian appeared again. Don't be like this, everyone. If you have something to discuss, he asked Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi, how are you going to talk to us? Zhang Yi said, send a few representatives from your 29th building. Let's talk about how to cooperate in the future. I, Zhang Yi, are not that unkind. Now, you are all coveting the supplies and snowmobiles in my hands. How dare I talk to you? Anyway, my condition is here, whether you like it or not. I believe that everyone has already asked about me. I'm not afraid to tell you that I have known about this unprecedented cold wave for a long time. So our house is built very strong, and we are not afraid of your invasion. At worst, everyone will just consume it like this. Let's see who can consume more energy than whom. After Zhang Yi asked this question, his eyes were fixed on the screen. This is a kind of test to see if there is anyone in this community who can destroy his house. Although the probability of this is extremely low, seeing that the war is about to break out, Zhang Yi may face the siege of thousands of people, so he must consider everything. It turns out that math doesn't lie. That kind of low probability event did not happen. After thinking about it for a while, the people in the group felt a little discouraged. They knew that Shen Zhenghao was killed by Zhang Yi. Huang Shai and Fang took people there to carry out the blasting, but Zhang Yi's family was intact. They are just ordinary people in the society, and they can't get a lot of explosives to blow up buildings. So once Zhang Yi chooses to say nothing, they really have nothing to do. After a while, a landlord said, you can protect yourself, but with so many people in your apartment building, can you protect them all? Zhang Yi rolled his eyes. Could it be that he thought he was a saint? It is estimated that Khan Donkey is at the end of his skills, so he can only use this thing as an example. It's such a time. Of course I want to keep myself first. It's pointless to play this kind of moral kidnapping with me. Chen Lingai was a little anxious. Zhang Yi, no matter how strong your house is, there will always be a day when you run out of food inside. Can you guarantee that you will never come out for the rest of your life? So it makes no sense to use this ostrich method to escape from reality. The smile on Zhang Yi's face could not be stopped at all. Then let's have a try and see who can take longer. Consumption compared with him? Zhang Yi has a saying, I never care about other people's supplies. Anyway, they don't have as much as I do. Chapter 111 Zalker-039 S Special Massage. None of the other landlords thought that Zhang Yi would use this method to deal with them. After all, during this period of time, Zhang Yi had to go out to look for supplies every day. This made them take it for granted that Zhang Yi must go out and search for supplies to survive. But now Zhang Yi puts his hands in his pockets, and it's a showdown. Are you going to hit me? Come on, I'll hide inside Anqing Bay and see what you do. When everyone was struggling, it was Li Jian who came out and broke the deadlock. I think negotiation is the best way to solve the problem, and it's better than killing the fish and breaking the net. If there is a negotiation, I can come forward. Zhang Yi said with a smile. Mr. Li, I appreciate your attitude. When I was in the company, I always thought you were the most sensible. Come here and talk to me. I feel more at ease talking to you. Unlike those bastards who like to attack others. Zhang Yi deliberately called Li Jian Mr. Li to tell others that he knew Li Jian very well before. At the same time, another wave of Huang Shai and Fang and Wang Kaiang was stepped on. To deal with this temporary alliance, it is necessary to create contradictions within them. Although the people involved in these 29 buildings temporarily reached a united front, they were not in harmony with each other. If it wasn't for jointly dealing with Zhang Yi, they would also have battles with each other. Sure enough, these words had some effect. Wang Kaiang sneered. Li Jian, can you represent all of us? Huang Shai and Fang also said sullenly, I can't let you go and talk to him alone. Chen Lingai said, since this is the case, then I will go there too. Fearing that others would take the lead, several people reached some kind of agreement with Zhang Yi in private. So when they got confused, they all demanded to negotiate with Zhang Yi. As soon as they started this, the others couldn't help it, and they also wanted to negotiate with Zhang Yi. A killing intent flashed in Zhang Yi's eyes. I'm not afraid of you coming, I'm afraid you won't come. Well, tomorrow afternoon at 2:30, I'll be waiting for you at 25 number. Don't wait when it's too late. Zhang Yi dropped this sentence and quickly quit the group chat without giving them room to bargain. If he succeeds, tomorrow, he can kill all the 29 landlords. Although this will arouse a collective hatred of the group of people under them. But the dragons have no leader, and once they fall into chaos, it is difficult to unite quickly. Zhang Yi has time to break down one by one. Still the same sentence. Zhang Yi's self-confidence comes from his powerful firepower and impenetrable fortress. Both offensive and defensive, he is not afraid of any opponent. The foot-washing water was a bit cold. Zhang Yi lowered his head and said to Zhao Keita, "Okay, wipe it clean for me." Zhao Keita nodded and helped Zhang Yi clean his feet with a foot cloth. She went to the bathroom to pour out the foot-washing water and then came over to give Zhang Yi a massage. Zhang Yi turned his head to look at this beautiful female doctor with lowered eyes and suddenly reached out to her. "Don't use your phone these days, keep it for me. There will be a big battle soon, and he needs to be fully prepared to kill those who are not good for him in one fell swoop. Unsafe factors also need to be completely eliminated." Zhao Keita froze for a moment, then handed the phone to Zhang Yi. "Are you going to fight them?" she asked softly. Zhang Yi said lightly, "Maybe, but I need to prepare for the war in advance. After all, the number of opponents I need to face this time is not comparable to before." "Oh, I see." Zhao Keita nodded, then continued to massage Zhang Yi without asking any more questions. After so long, she understood Zhang Yi's temperament. When he's in a good mood, it's okay to joke and chat. But when he's serious, it's best not to talk to him, let alone ask questions. Looking at Zhang Yi's serious expression and the occasional sharp eyes, Zhao Keita knew that Zhang Yi was thinking hard about strategies. She can't do anything else for Zhang Yi. She can only do her duty as a woman right now. After thinking about it, Zhao Keita came behind Zhang Yi. The snow-white catkin was placed on Zhang Yi's shoulder, and he began to knead it with just the right strength. Then, Zhang Yi felt that the back of his head was wrapped by a surging and soft mysterious force. This is. Zhang Yi's eyes became floating. This kind of touch is as happy as going to heaven. I didn't expect Zhao Keita to have such skills. Comfortable Zhang Yi couldn't help but said. Zhao Keita was overjoyed and blushed and said, "It's just as long as you like it. I just learned it recently." Zhang Yi leaned against Zhao Keita's chest. The feeling of being wrapped in warm and soft things made him relax a lot. His thoughts also became clearer. Zhang Yi closed his eyes, thinking secretly. He made an appointment with the building directors of 29 buildings. If all those people come over tomorrow, Zhang Yi will kill them all without hesitation. The remaining people will definitely be in chaos, and Zhang Yi will have a chance to defeat them one by one. However, those people are not all fools. Some people may not come over and maintain a wait and see attitude. If that's the case, killing people by hand will actually scare the snake away and cause trouble for subsequent actions. What should be done then? Zhang Yi's head was immersed in the undulating waves. After thinking for a while, he made up his mind. If those people did not come according to his plan, or if less than half of them came, he would temporarily pretend to agree to the other party's request. Conceal the strength and let the opponent be paralyzed. Then, through a series of means, it caused the opponents in fighting, and weakened their combat effectiveness. Then wait for the right opportunity to kill them all. Anyway, time is on Zhang Yi's side. In terms of force, as long as he doesn't take the initiative to attack other buildings, Zhang Yi can absolutely crush them all. You must not be in a hurry. If you are in a hurry, it is easy to make mistakes, and if you make a mistake, I may be in danger. Be a patient hunter, set traps step by step, and then let the prey walk into my trap. The thoughts in Zhang Yi's mind straightened out, and he figured out how to deal with those people. This may also have something to do with Zhao Keita's new massage. In order to prepare for tomorrow's negotiation, he needs some people to help him maintain the situation. Zhang Yi's first thought was naturally Uncle Yu. He picked up his mobile phone, sent a message to Uncle Yu, and briefly told him about tomorrow's affairs. Uncle Yu immediately replied, if you need me to do something, you just say it and it's over. I'll listen to you. During this period of time, Zhang Yi has been showing great favors to Uncle Yu, coupled with the marksmanship shown in several battles. He has completely conquered Uncle Yu. Now Uncle Yu followed Zhang Yi wholeheartedly and carried out his orders without hesitation. Chapter 112. Zhang Yi said to Uncle Yu, you don't need to do anything special. When we negotiate tomorrow, it will be on our territory. At that time, people from the other 29 buildings may send representatives. So I need someone to maintain order on the scene. I want you to bring someone to do this. Uncle Yu nodded. It's easy to handle. If they come over, conduct a body search first and ask them to throw the guy away. Zhang Yi said, yes, that's what it means. Then I'll talk to other neighbors. Uncle Yu said, okay, then it's settled. After confirming with Uncle Yu, Zhang Yi opened the owners group. At this time, those owners were still pleading with Zhang Yi in various ways, begging Zhang Yi not to abandon them. I hope that Zhang Yi will continue to provide food for them like in the past. Zhang Yi was too lazy to talk nonsense with them. He directly said in the group, tomorrow, people from the other 29 buildings will come to force the palace. They force me to make a decision, whether to provide them with supplies or not. If that's the case, then I will have to give up on you all. Anyway, you all know that it's okay for me to keep myself. Or you can follow my orders and stand on guard obediently tomorrow. Maybe you can save a chance. Of course, I will try my best to get supplies for you. When the neighbors heard what Zhang Yi said, they couldn't help becoming nervous. How dare they say a half word? He repeatedly agreed, saying that he would obey Zhang Yi's orders. After all, nowadays, more than half of the combat power of the entire 25 number comes from Zhang Yi. Without Zhang Yi's protection, they would be wiped out by the Cheyenne gang and the Mad Wolf gang next to them at any time. After the plan was completed, Zhang Yi patted the back of Zhao Ke's hand. Let's rest early today. Tomorrow, there are very important things. Zhao Ke bit her lip, leaned close to his ear and said shyly, if that's the case, would you like me to accompany you to relax tonight? Zhang Yi said with a smile, I need to conserve energy. So let's simplify the process. Zhao Ke nodded and skillfully came to Zhang Yi and lowered his head. Zhang Yi woke up at 7 o'clock the next morning because he had something to do. He glanced at the Rolex in his hand. It was very early and he was no longer sleepy. As soon as Zhang Yi turned over and sat up from the bed, he began to prepare the equipment used in the negotiation in advance. Body armor, modified bulletproof pants, police helmets, crowbars, machetes. 2 military daggers were stuffed into the outer pockets of the trousers. If caught in a closed two-hand combat situation, this thing can have a miraculous effect, and it is more useful than a machete. Then, 2 police pistols, both fully loaded. In addition, 6 magazines are prepared, all of which are inserted in the waist. These alone are not enough. Zhang Yi took out 2 assault rifles from the space, both of which were also full of bullets. At that time, in a room, if you take out this thing, you can quickly kill a lot of people. I'm afraid no one would have thought that Zhang Yi could suddenly pull out an assault rifle out of thin air. Then, it was Zhang Yi's beloved big sniper. The basic weapons and equipment are now complete. Zhang Yi looked at the dozens of boxes of grenades in the space again. If they are all here, and they are gathered in one room, I just need to throw a grenade over there, and they'll be crippled, if not dead. There was a cold smile on the corner of Zhang Yi's mouth. He learned how to use grenades from the internet. This kind of short-range AoE weapon on the battlefield is very simple to use, as long as you know the way to open it, and the time to explode. Zhang Yi has never used it before, but he has experienced such a long period of doomsday, and he has killed dozens of people, so his mentality has long been as firm as iron. Therefore, he can overcome his fear of this hot weapon. At least he doesn't have to worry about shaking his hands when throwing a grenade. Next, just wait for the fish to take the bait. A smile of anticipation flashed across Zhang Yi's cold eyes. After 12 noon, Zhang Yi went downstairs fully armed, and at the same time, asked everyone in the group to gather on the 7th floor. There is a house on the 13th floor that is a 1-bedroom apartment with a relatively large indoor area, which is convenient for many people to gather in it. And at this height, it can avoid being attacked by the people below by throwing stones. Even if there was a fight below, Zhang Yi had time to run back to his safe house, very safe. For the food in Zhang Yi's hands, those neighbors naturally did not dare to have any opinions, and they all came here. Zhang Yi glanced at them, said nothing, but picked up 2 black luggage bags from the ground and threw them in front of them with a bang. This is the food for you today. Take it and share it. He actually collected food yesterday, but he didn't distribute it to these neighbors. The neighbors hadn't eaten for a day, and when they saw the food delivered by Zhang Yi, they rushed up excitedly. Just like vicious dogs grabbing food, they started to fight. Zhang Yi didn't speak, just quietly watched them gobble up there. It may be necessary to fight a fierce battle today. If that is the case, these cannon fodder may not be able to survive a few people. Don't get me wrong, Zhang Yi didn't mean to let them have a full meal before they died. It is only when they are full that they have the strength to help Zhang Yi fight. After these people devoured their food, Zhang Yi opened his mouth to assign tasks. There is nothing special today, it's just me negotiating with the building directors of other buildings. Everyone will communicate in a peaceful way, and there is a high probability that there will be no bloodshed. Therefore, you only need to stand up and maintain order at the scene. As long as the negotiation is successful, everyone can get rid of the days of fear and live a normal life in the future. So today everyone has to be points, and no one can disrupt this negotiation. Do you understand? Zhang Yi drew a big cake normal life. As soon as these words were uttered, none of the neighbors at the scene were moved to tears. Some people covered their mouths, squatted on the ground and cried bitterly. From a harmonious society to the end of the world, they have endured too much pain for nearly a month. Even did many inhumane things. Sometimes, they are so confused that they don't know whether they are alive or dead. Only in their dreams can they dream that they are living in the past, not in this miserable world. A neighbor asked in disbelief, Zhang Yi, is what you said true? Can we go back to the past? Can? Zhang Yi nodded affirmatively, without any hesitation in his eyes. As long as this negotiation is successfully concluded and everyone solves the food problem, there will be no more bloody battles in the future. So gentlemen, for a bright future, please work hard again today. Chapter 113. The neighbors had enough to eat, and Stockholm disease made them grateful to Zhang Yi. At this time, Zhang Yi said that they could return to normal life without having to worry about it all day long, and their morale was immediately stimulated. What else to say? Do it. I don't want to live a day in my current life. As long as I can live a normal life, I'm willing to risk my life. Seeing that the morale was almost mobilized, Zhang Yi slowly stood up from the chair. Okay, next, I'll assign jobs to everyone. What they were about to face were the ruthless people from the other 29 buildings in the community. All preparations must be made to ensure Zhang Yi's safety. Everyone else can die, but Zhang Yi must be given enough time to return to the safe house. In the unit building, apart from Zhang Yi and Uncle Yu, there are still 28 manpower available on site. Zhang Yi asked Li Chengbin and Zhang Lei to lead the team, and led 18 people to guard the entrance of the 4th floor. The entrance on the 4th floor is equipped with a trap, leaving only a space for one person to enter and exit, and all kinds of electrical appliances and equipment are piled up next to it. Once someone comes to attack, they can only walk in through the narrow aisle. That is to say, no matter how many people they come, they can only attack one by one, which is tantamount to death. In the case of a strong attack, unless a large number of people are used to remove all the debris blocking the window. But this takes a lot of time. Therefore, even if the people in the other 29 buildings attacked suddenly during the negotiation, Zhang Yi could use this time to kill everyone on the scene, and then leave calmly. On the other side, Uncle Yu led 10 people to maintain order on the 13th floor. There are not many people left by Zhang Yi, mainly as a facade. After all, even if 29 people came from the opponent, Zhang Yi could kill them all in this kind of open space. Everything is within his plan. After Zhang Yi made arrangements, he waited here for the arrival of the other party. The appointed time is 2:30 PM. However, everyone was in a rather impatient mood, so after 2 o'clock, people began to drill out from other unit buildings one after another. It's like a large group of ants suddenly crawling out of an ant nest. On the white ground, black figures became more numerous. The wind and snow are still non-stop. Today's snow is much smaller than usual, but the wind seems to be stronger. The whimpering north wind passed by and was cut by buildings, making sharp screams. Zhang Yi sat in front of the window on the 7th floor and saw the scene downstairs. People, a lot of people. A steady stream of people surrounded them from all directions. At first glance, there must be at least 500 or 600 people, and this number is still increasing. The area in the middle of the community is full of people, and there is almost no open space. Play tricks with me, huh? A sneer twitched at the corner of Zhang Yi's mouth. He took out his cell phone from his pocket and sent a message to the building manager group. Let everyone get out of here, or you won't have to come here today. After finishing speaking, he put away his mobile phone, then took out the sniper rifle from the space, put it under his feet, and covered it with the table. Then, he shouted outside, Uncle Yu. Uncle Yu came in with a thick crowbar in his hand. Zhang Yi, what's the plan? Zhang Yi said, there are a lot of people here. I'm afraid those boys won't be able to control the scene. Go over there. Don't worry, I'm here to support you. Uncle Yu glanced out of the window, his pupils constricted suddenly, but he still nodded firmly. Okay, I'll do it. After Zhang Yi's news was sent out, those people's footsteps did not stop. However, it stopped 5 meters away from 25 number. A dark crowd gathered, everyone in thick clothes, hats, and scarves wrapped around their faces. The entire front of 25 number was blocked and airtight, and even the light on the 4th floor became dimmed. Li Chengbin, Jiang Zhe and the others saw so many people, and none of them felt a chill down their backs. If so many people rush over, even if they occupy a favorable location, they can only delay for a while. If they really fight, they will definitely die. So many people, how to stop them? Didn't you agree to come here to negotiate? They look like they are here to negotiate. This is clearly here to destroy us. The neighbors on the 4th floor felt a chill in their hearts and didn't know how to deal with it. At this moment, a steady voice came from the stairs. Why panic? If they wanted to fight, they would have rushed over. Uncle Yu calmly walked down with a crowbar in hand. Seeing Uncle Yu, everyone felt a little more at ease. After all, they all had seen Uncle Yu's formidable fighting power. Li Chengbin frowned. Uncle Yu, there are too many of these people. I'm afraid people from the entire community have gathered here. How do we fight? The others also looked terrified, turning to Uncle Yu for help. Uncle Yu had no choice but to comfort them. You don't need to worry. Their goal is not you, but to force Zhang Yi to make concessions in the negotiation. Besides, you guys are afraid. Think about it yourself. What is there to worry about? Uncle Yu clarified the stakes in this, which immediately made everyone feel more relaxed. That's right, they don't have anything on them, so what's the point of people coming over to fuck them with great fanfare? Their target is Zhang Yi. They are not worthy. For the first time the big one was congratulating himself on his insignificance. At this time, the crowd suddenly fluctuated. I saw the crowd parted several ways, and then 5 people came out surrounded by their subordinates. These 5 people are Huang Xianfang from Xian Gang at 26 number, Wan Qiang from Crazy Wolf Gang at 21 number, Li Jian from Harmonious Homeland at 18 number, Chen Yuling, the building leader of Hash 9, and Zhang Yunian, the building leader of Hash 5. Several people came to the door of 25 number with confident expressions on their faces. Especially Wan Qiang. This 22-year-old street slicker has a haughty face. Behind him was an army of thousands of people, which gave him a feeling of great pride. Zhang Yi, who was about to face him, made him feel like an insignificant person. For today's negotiation, they are sure to win. Wan Qiang chuckled and said, have you seen them? Just seeing our numbers makes us almost pee. Huang Xianfang also had a smug smile on his thin, sallow old face. Zhang Yi probably has gone to change his pants. He won't agree to any of the conditions we proposed. Thousands of people against 30 people. They can't think of how to lose. In their eyes, Zhang Yi can only obediently obey their orders. Li Jian pushed his glasses. His expression was modest, but there was a bit of arrogance and confidence in his eyes. Being able to organize a team of thousands of people was something unimaginable in the past. At this time, they all felt that they were very much like ancient generals who could command thousands of troops. Chen Lingai crossed her arms and said proudly, "Everyone, don't be dazed. It's quite cold outside. Let's go in and have a good talk with Zhang Yi. Inform him of what was finalized yesterday and let him accept it." Chapter 114 Fire in the Hole. Several people looked at each other. Then Huang Shai and Fang shouted coldly, "Where's Zhang Yi? We are here to negotiate with him." Uncle Yu walked over with a crowbar on his shoulder. The scene in front of him reminded him of his career in the military. He felt as if he was 20 years younger, and the blood in his body was about to boil. Uncle Yu looked at the building leaders in front of him without fear, and said, "Our boss is waiting for you all. Why didn't you all come together with 29 building leaders?" Li Jian pushed his eyes. The smile on his face was still so humble and polite. "We discussed it yesterday, and it would not be appropriate for everyone to go there together, so let 5 of us be representatives." They also have concerns in their hearts, worrying that Zhang Yi will find a chance to take the bosses of them all together. So after discussing for a long time, they finally decided to select the 5 most powerful people to negotiate with Zhang Yi on their behalf. Uncle Yu had received Zhang Yi's order, frowned slightly, and said, "Then please come in. However, only 5 of you can come here today, and no one else can. And for the sake of safety, if you have weapons on your body, you'd better put them away. Otherwise, it won't look good when you check them." Uncle Yu's words made the faces of the people in front of them change drastically. Chen Lingai raised her brows and scolded angrily, "Search? What does Zhang Yi mean? Is this his attitude?" Wang Qiang laughed out loud, took out the machete with a ferocious face, pointed at Uncle Yu and cursed, "When is Zhang Yi, a lifeless bastard, and dare to ask for conditions? You are really not afraid of death?" Huang Shai and Fang said with a cold smile, "Is Zhang Yi blind and can't see what's going on in front of him? Just a few dozen of you, each of us drowned you with every spittle." Uncle Yu didn't talk nonsense and took out his mobile phone from his pocket. It turned out that he had been on the phone with Zhang Yi, so that Zhang Yi could understand the situation below. After hearing the arrogant tone of these people, Zhang Yi also laughed. "I know what's going on, just wait a moment. It seems that it will be impossible not to beat their arrogance. He has to let these guys know that it is not necessarily easy to handle things if there are many people." Zhang Yi walked to the window and stretched out his hand to open the window. The cold wind whistled past. He glanced down and there were people everywhere. Zhang Yi took out a grenade from a different space and, according to the technique learned from the internet, quickly pulled the handle of the grenade away and then threw it towards the crowd of people in the distance. Those people behind are watching the show. Although there are many of them, most of them are just pulled over by the building leaders of each building to make up the number of people. Therefore, they also feel that they are here to watch the excitement. Thinking that in the future, someone can provide them with food, clothes and other materials for free, they feel very happy, chatting happily and thinking about the future. Suddenly, a piercing sound came. Everyone looked up subconsciously and saw something falling down. What the hell? Some people thought it was a stone thrown and didn't pay much attention to it, since it was quite far away from them anyway. Before it was too late, the grenade fell to the ground. Boom. The flames shot up into the sky, and 7 or 8 people near the point where the grenade landed were directly blown into the air. Accompanied by snowflakes, bright red blood, and broken limbs were flying. What? The deafening explosion caused a panic scream. A grenade killed 7 or 8 people on the spot, and the 2 people at the center were shot into sieves by shrapnel. And the shockwave and shrapnel affected a dozen people, causing them to bleed profusely. In this environment, these injured people seemed to be a bunch of dead people. The sudden explosion shocked everyone. After all, ordinary people will never have access to such things as grenades. Even in the last days, they never thought that they would be attacked by grenades. The scene was in chaos. Although there were many people who came, they were all mobs, and most of them came to make up for the number. For a while, everyone was turned on their backs, and everyone screamed and ran for their lives. Wang Qiang and the other building chiefs also turned pale with fright. What kind of building chief is just an ordinary person, but he is more courageous and cruel? They are also afraid of explosions. Don't panic, don't panic. The building leaders in the crowd suppressed their fear and loudly ordered everyone to stop panicking. But they are not the army. Where is there any discipline? Even the brothers and cronies under their hands became grandchildren in fright, lying on the ground in a hurry, holding their heads, or finding a place to curl up into a ball. At this moment, a mocking voice came from Uncle Yu's cell phone. Are there so many people? Wang Qiang and the others stared wide-eyed, full of astonishment. This grenade was actually thrown by Zhang Yi. Where did he get the grenade? Why does he have a grenade? Not to mention them, even Uncle Yu and Li Chengbin and others behind were dumbfounded. It wasn't until they heard Zhang Yi's voice that they realized what had happened, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief for a while. Despite being shocked, Uncle Yu coughed and said to Wang Qiang and the others, "Do you have any comments now?" Wang Qiang and the others were so frightened that they couldn't speak. You look at me, and I look at you. Only then do you know how unfathomable Zhang Yi is. It doesn't matter if you have a gun. And then he took out a sniper rifle. They have endured the sniper rifles. Why are there even grenades now? They are still holding sticks and machetes. How can they fight with others? When they came, there was a group of people who were still aggressive, and their faces were extremely ugly at this time. Wang Qiang said with a gloomy face, "We are here to negotiate. There is no need to do this." There was Zhang Yi's contemptuous voice on the phone. "Does your family need to bring more than 1,000 people to negotiate? I think they are an eyesore, so I will help you drive them away." On the 13th floor, Zhang Yi glanced at his watch. "Oh, 2:30 is almost here. You still have 5 minutes. I can't see you in 5 minutes, so there is no need to talk. Let's fight. Beat. Fuck it. You are clearly a dimensionality reduction strike." Sweat broke out on the faces of Wang Qiang and the others. Chen Lingai clamped her legs tightly and bit her lip in pain. In fact, when the grenade exploded, she was so scared that she peed out. But as a female building leader, she must not let anyone know about it. "No, we came here to cooperate with sincerity. Just wait a moment, we will be there soon." Li Jian was in a hurry. He hurried to Uncle Yu. "Please tell us, which floor is he on?" Uncle Yu pursed his lips, his expression slightly embarrassing. 13th floor. The 13th floor. That means they need to climb 9 floors. Based on their physical strength, they might have to breathe heavily to climb up. The few people didn't dare to delay. They quickly left all the weapons on their bodies and then rushed upstairs. Chapter 115 Let 039 S grow corn. From the window on the 13th floor, seeing more than 1,000 residents of the community collapsed, Zhang Yi couldn't help but gasped. This is the first time he has used a grenade. To be honest, at first he didn't expect to have such a great power. Maybe it's because I watched too many dramas in the past. The heroes there were able to withstand all kinds of grenades without getting hurt. But in fact, the lethality of modern thermal weapons to ordinary people is unimaginable. With just one grenade, Zhang Yi scared more than 1,000 people into rats, and directly and indirectly killed nearly 20 people. Originally, Zhang Yi planned to throw a few more. But after the first bomb exploded, the others ran away like birds and beasts continue to throw. The effect is not as good as the first one. Seeing how useless they were, Zhang Yi didn't bother to waste his grenades. After all, he only had 20 boxes of grenades, so he had to save some. He sat on a chair, waiting for Wang Qiang, Huang Shai and Fang and others to come over. After a few minutes, several people who were out of breath arrived one after another. In such a cold weather, climbing up to the 9th floor in one breath is really beyond the physical strength of ordinary people. Only Huang Shai and Fang, who worked on the construction site, and Zhang Yunian, the building manager of 5 number, were better off. Zhang Yi knew Zhang Yunian a little bit. He used to run a boxing gym and was a 2-stroke trainer. But this is irrelevant to Zhang Yi, because he has a gun in his hand. 7 steps away, the gun is fast, and within 7 steps, the gun is fast and accurate. They're all here. Are you the only ones? Zhang Yi said in a flat tone. He was a little disappointed that so few people came. If there is no way to catch all the building managers in one go, then the only option is to implement the second plan. Several people took a breath, and the previous arrogance was almost extinguished at this time. Facing a ruthless character who can throw grenades to blow up people at any time. What are they? Li Jian gave himself some comfort while saying, "Yes, we are representatives." "Oh. Zhang Yi responded lightly. Then let's talk. Wang Qiang and others took a breath and found a place to sit down, but no one dared to approach Zhang Yi. Everyone knew that Zhang Yi was carrying a gun. Li Jian was still the first to speak. He looked at Zhang Yi seriously and said in a deep voice, "Zhang Yi, you also know that the situation is difficult now. Everyone lacks food and clothing, and many people even freeze to death or starve to death. I also heard that some apartment buildings have started eating people. If this goes on like this, none of us can survive. So I hope you can understand that everyone is not targeting you. Everyone just wants to live, so they have to talk to you in this way." Li Jian's tone was much more polite. But if Zhang Yi hadn't thrown that grenade, his statement would have been different. Zhang Yi was indifferent. "Don't play the emotional card with me. Do you think it's still useful to say this now? Talk about your terms directly." In terms of momentum, the 5 people on the opposite side were tightly suppressed by Zhang Yi. Even if they wanted to pretend to be calm, they would be in a bad state if they climbed 9 flights of stairs in one go. That's right, all of this is within Zhang Yi's calculations. Jojo. Several building leaders looked at each other. Wang Qiang raised his chin at Li Jian. "Old Li, you should say it. They don't dare to use force now. They can only talk to Zhang Yi. It is obvious that Li Jian's eloquence is better." Li Jian frowned, thought for a moment, and then spoke slowly. "What we want is some essential living supplies. The first is food. We need you to help us collect it from the outside world. The second is the materials used for heating, such as clothes and quilts." When Li Jian said this, he paused for a moment, and the others immediately stared at him with fixed eyes. "There is no way," Li Jian continued. "If our cooperation goes well in the future, we can also ask someone to help you go out to collect supplies. If everyone can find more living materials, then everyone will be happy." After finishing speaking, Li Jian felt that what he had said was not bad and asked Zhang Yi again, "Mr. Zhang, what do you think?" No matter what words come out of Li Jian's mouth, it always makes people's ears feel comfortable. But Zhang Yi is not stupid. He can hear the undertones in his words. Language has always been an art. It is obviously the same request, but it is a completely different result to say it in different words. Zhang Yi understood after a little thought. He sneered. "I understand what you mean. In other words, let me help you collect food and living supplies. I didn't say the quantity, but there is no limit. The other thing is to help me collect supplies, that is, to let me hand over the snowmobile for you to use. Is that what you mean?" Li Jian still wanted to explain, but Zhang Yi's expression changed suddenly. He didn't push much, took out his gun, and slapped it on the table with a bang. The faces of the 5 people also changed drastically, and they subconsciously wanted to escape. But the door was blocked by Uncle Yu and his men. Wang Qiang said sternly, "Zhang Yi, what do you mean? Let me tell you, it's useless even if you kill us. When the time comes, no one in the whole community will let you go." Li Jian also waved his hands to persuade. "Mr. Zhang, don't get excited. We can talk slowly if we have something to say." Zhang Yi smiled lightly. "Why are you nervous? I just think this pistol is a bit in the way. Take it out to dry. Don't be nervous. Come on, sit down and let's continue." The faces of the 5 people were not very good looking, but they sat down anyway. Zhang Yi said, "First of all, let me tell you that I can't agree to the conditions you put forward." Several people were a little anxious and were about to speak, but were stopped by Zhang Yi stretching out his hand. "Don't worry, listen to me. You mean, you want me to manage the life and death of the entire community? Don't be kidding. No matter who comes, it won't be able to do this. 30 buildings, more than 1,000 people's supplies, just looking for it every day is exhausting. The most important thing is, as far as I know, you are not so kind that you will not have enough to eat, and you still care about your neighbors?" Zhang Yi said strangely, then glanced at the 5 people present. The 5 people looked at me, and I looked at you, but they didn't speak. Only Li Jian frowned more and more. He was weighing the pros and cons. Because of the entire community, only their unit buildings exist in the form of a harmonious home. Everyone shares supplies and will not plunder each other, which has allowed them to survive until now with the highest survival rate. Seeing that no one made any comments, Zhang Yi said, I will tell you the terms of my cooperation now, and you can see if it is feasible. But if you don't accept it, I won't change it, so let's fight. The 5 people have different expressions. In all fairness, they are now very afraid of Zhang Yi's strength. If fighting alone, Zhang Yi can push any of them, or even join forces with several parties. Zhang Yi raised a finger. First, I can provide you with supplies, mainly food. But the quantity is limited, and I only provide 10 people for each building. I don't care who distributes the food, and who distributes it. You decide within the unit building. In this way, I have to bear the supplies of more than 300 people every day, which is already my limit. When Zhang Yi said these words, the 5 people in front of him all lowered their heads, and began to think. They didn't expect Zhang Yi to agree to bear the living supplies of the entire community, but at the very least, they must ensure that their faction can survive. There are too few supplies for 10 people. Chen Lingai was the first to make an opinion. There are 76 living people in our building. There are more than 20 employees in the company under my own hands. You only gave 10 people a share, so how will we divide it then? Zhang Yi glanced at her coldly. So there's nothing to talk about. His tone was cold and murderous, and Chen Lingai realized that Zhang Yi said that if the negotiation fails, then fight. Huang Xianfang was not happy anymore. He quickly raised his hand and said, wait. Chen Lingai, don't rush to represent us all. I see the quantity of this material. We can still talk about it. Of course Huang Xianfang was willing to do it 100 times. More than half of the members of their Xian gang were slaughtered by Zhang Yi, and now there are only 7 people in the direct line. Counting his total of 8 people, the supplies for 10 people are completely enough. As for the other neighbors, wouldn't it be over if they were all slaughtered by then? Wang Qiang sized Zhang Yi up, feeling a little hesitant in his heart. There are still 16 people under his command, and the supplies for 10 people are obviously not enough. However, it is not absolutely impossible. The big deal is to optimize 6 people. The number of 10 people is a little less, and we will have no way to explain it to other units at that time. Wang Qiang said this on purpose, trying to gain more benefits. Zhang Yi was expressionless. Do you think it is too little to provide food for 300 people every day? Just a single amount of material caused a rift in their loose alliance. Some people have many subordinates, while others have few subordinates. This is the difference in interests. Li Jian's face was full of sadness. The reason why he was able to be the building manager was because of the system of equal distribution of benefits. Once more than 80 people in the entire building can only distribute 10 supplies, his leadership position will be lost in an instant. As a result, the entire harmonious homeland will collapse and even turn into a situation of cannibalism that is crazier than other unit buildings. Li Jian looked to the side. Wang Qiang and Huang Xianfang were obviously moved. He quickly said to Zhang Yi, let us think about this again. You can talk about other conditions first. Zhang Yi said lightly, okay. Next, I will provide you with supplies, and you will be paid for it. His right hand was placed on the table, only 2 centimeters away from the gun, and he tapped the table lightly. Since we want to keep fire seeds, we must carry out sustainable development in the future. Just going out to search for supplies won't last long, and no one knows when the snow will fall. So, we have to be self-sufficient and start working. As Zhang Yi said, he took out a bag of corn seeds from behind as if by magic, and threw it in front of several people. When I went out, I found a batch of grain seeds. I think we can grow crops to get a continuous and stable food. Zhang Yi joked, just like our ancestors. Food is obtained by the labor of hands. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 116 Pig Teammates. Li Jian and other 5 building leaders stared at each other. No one knew what Zhang Yi was up to. Planted. Be a farmer? Isn't this a joke? Huang Xianfang said dissatisfied. Have you ever planted land? In such a cold weather, all the food will be frozen to death. Zhang Yi said, hey, you can't say that. Think back in Siberia, they also vigorously promoted corn. If you think corn is not good, I have other seeds here, potatoes, wheat. There is always a suitable one. Li Jian and the others were completely speechless. Zhang Yi, don't be joking. How many degrees is it outside? Besides, where are you planted in the world of ice and snow? But Zhang Yi said with a serious expression, what about the coldest day? Didn't we still survive? I don't know how long this snow disaster will last. You may also feel that the high level people are all in hiding, and they are ready for a long-term lurking. This shows that the end times will last for quite a long time. If you don't grow crops, food will be exhausted soon. Isn't everyone dead by then? As for where to plant, this problem is easy to solve. Zhang Yi stretched out his hand and pointed out the window. Isn't there all land outside? As long as everyone digs the snow away, there will be land below. If you want to overcome the low temperature, you can plant it underground. Although this process is very difficult, we must try. Only in this way can we maintain a complete ecological chain. Let everyone survive in the end times. Among the 5 people, Huang Xianfang and Li Jian's expressions were a little moved. Huang Xianfang used to be a farmer, and he is very good at farming. If he solves the food problem through farming in the future, he will undoubtedly have an advantage over the urban residents in the community. Li Jian, on the other hand, thinks that the large number of people in their unit is an important labor force. If it develops into an agricultural model, his right to speak in the community will also increase. Wang Qiang looked at Zhang Yi suspiciously. It is impossible for him to farm the land point, but as the boss of 21 number, he can naturally let others do the work. Li Jian suddenly asked, if you want to start planting, you must provide enough food. In this way, servings of food is too little. The corners of Zhang Yi's mouth curled up slightly, and he said with a smile, but I need more than 300 people. He spread his hands. Okay, it's time to talk about my second condition in detail. That is, each building needs to send people out to sort out the farmland. I need to see your labor progress every day. After all, I worked so hard to find food, and I didn't feed the idlers. Zhang Yi looked at everyone, tapped his fingers on the table, and the others were also tapping their abacus in their hearts. These are my 2 conditions. As long as you agree, I promise to provide you with supplies. And if there are 300 servings, the quality of the food will be guaranteed. Even in the future, I will provide cigarettes, alcohol, clothes, and even medical supplies. As soon as this sentence came out, some people couldn't sit still. Wang Qiang stood up suddenly and asked loudly, can you get cigarettes? There was anticipation in his eyes. Huang Xianfang's lips trembled with excitement. Do you have a cigarette in your hand? Come on, give me a taste. I haven't smoked for half a month. I'm going crazy. These 2 people are both old smokers. Letting them not smoke for more than half a month is more uncomfortable than killing them. The reason why I became so irritable later is also related to the withdrawal reaction. Zhang Yi smiled slightly, took out a pack of Ligwan from his pocket, and threw one to each of them. The 2 looked greedily at the cigarette in their hands and hurriedly stuffed it into their mouths. Fire. Do you have a fire? Here, come on, hurry up. At this moment, Wang Qiang and Huang Xianfang didn't even care what they were doing here. They ran to the side and lit their cigarettes with trembling hands. Then put it in your mouth, and took a deep breath. White smoke gushed out from the nostrils, and both of them had ecstatic expressions on their faces. They can skip meals, but they will really go crazy if they don't smoke. The smile on Zhang Yi's face grew wider. Now my conditions are here. Do you agree? At this moment, Chen Lingai, whose legs were clamped tightly, her mind was on her pee-drenched crotch. She was shivering from the cold, but she didn't dare to show it. As for Zhang Yunian, who is muscular and simple-minded, he was completely confused by Zhang Yi's farming conditions, and didn't know how to speak. Only Li Jianban intends to argue with reason, and negotiate some conditions. But before he could speak, he was interrupted by Wang Qiang. As long as you can guarantee that I have cigarettes in the future, I can promise you all these conditions. But it's agreed, at least give me 2 packs a day. Huang Xianfang also said, I also have the same conditions. Zhang Yi said, I can only give you 1 pack a day at most. I can't find any more. Wang Qiang and Huang Xianfang quickly agreed. Okay, we agreed to take a pack a day. You must bring it to us. Zhang Yi smiled and spread his hands. So, we have reached a consensus in today's negotiation, right? Li Qiang and Huang Xianfang are not very smart people. Moreover, cigarettes are extremely addictive and can easily destroy people's will. As long as they can get cigarettes, they don't care about the rest. The two got the benefit from Zhang Yi and had no opinion. But Li Jian said, we still have to discuss this matter. Chen Lingai clamped her legs tightly and said with difficulty, yes, we still have to think long term. Zhang Yi waved his hand, that's up to you. Anyway, my conditions are here, and this is my greatest sincerity and bottom line. If you don't agree anymore, then we'll just meet each other with swords and guns. Zhang Yi bit the word knife, gun a little bit hard. This is to remind the few people in front of them that fighting Zhang Yi is equivalent to fighting foreign guns and artillery with big knives and spears. Wang Qiang stretched out his hand to Zhang Yi and said, I'm fine, give me a cigarette first. Zhang Yi sneered, are you kidding me? Aren't you from the United Front? Before you give me a clear answer, these conditions will not come into force. So if you want to smoke, just wait until you decide. Wang Qiang was smoking a cigarette. His eyes were a little blurred. He impatiently said to Li Jian and the others, what are you waiting for? Don't we have everything we want? Just do as he said. Li Jian said, but this is too. Wang Qiang stared and said, what's that? I said it, so let's do it. Don't waste time. I hate you chattering people the most. Huang Xianfang exhaled a smoke ring and said, I see, it's almost done. Zhang Yi gave us face, so we have to be considerate of his difficulties, right? Li Jian's face sank like water, and he scolded Wang Qiang and Huang Xian in his heart. These two big teammates started a fight in front of each other. Chapter 117 The Deterrent Power of the Great Sniper. Because of their addiction to cigarettes, Wang Qiang and Huang Xianfang wanted to agree to Zhang Yi's conditions immediately, just to get a pack of cigarettes to smoke every day. At this time, because of peeing her pants, most of Chen Lingai's attention was between her legs, and she couldn't spare any extra energy. Li Jian had no choice but to bite the bullet and said, this condition is indeed a bit harsh, and we cannot make a decision on our own. Otherwise, other units cannot agree. Zhang Yunian kept holding his arms. He belonged to the kind of person whose brain is not very good. In his conception, as long as Zhang Yi can provide food, no matter how much, as the boss of 5 number, he will definitely not be hungry. But everyone has talked, and he also pretended to say, yes, this matter cannot be decided easily. I think we still have to discuss it. Zhang Yi's face suddenly changed, and his voice became cold. Discuss again. Are you kidding me? If the 5 of you can't make decisions for the entire community, why do you call yourself representatives to negotiate with me? Uncle Yu and others outside the door clenched their weapons and approached the door with cold and serious faces. Wang Qiang and the others thumped in their hearts. It is too easy for Zhang Yi to kill them now. After all, they have guns in their hands, and they didn't bring anything. Wang Qiang hurriedly reached out his hand to stop Zhang Yi. Don't worry, who said we can't be the masters? He gave Li Jian and Zhang Yunian a hard look and said, isn't this matter settled? The 5 of us will make the decision. How dare the people in other buildings refuse to listen? If you ask me, Zhang Yi's condition is still acceptable. How can Wang Qiang, who is in his early 20s, have much social experience? He committed a big taboo in negotiations, which is to expose his whole cards first, and is eager to express his attitude. But there is no way. He is said to be the building manager of a building, but after all, he is just a street stalker who loves to fight fiercely. Seeing Wang Qiang's performance, Li Jian and Chen Lingai wished they could beat him to death. But the words have been spoken, and there is no way to take them back. Not only Wang Qiang, Huang Xianfang also stood up to help. After all, he has the least number of direct descendants. The supplies of 10 people are completely enough for them to use, and there are still cigarettes every day. Isn't it a happy life like a fairy? Lao Huang said, I think everyone has to understand each other. Zhang Yi also has his difficulties. Everyone can get it. Don't push people too much. In order to gain Zhang Yi's favor, Huang Xianfang patted Zhang Yi on his chest. Zhang Yi, let me make a statement first. I agree with your proposal. Wang Qiang followed closely and said, me too. Zhang Yi still frowned, pretending to be thinking, but it was the first time he experienced such a scene, and he didn't know what to say. In short, pretending to be deep is over. Among the 5 people, only Li Jian and Chen Lingai had some brains. However, due to special circumstances, Chen Lingai's IQ dropped sharply, and Li Jian was left alone. A few people were in a mess, but internal conflicts appeared first. Zhang Yi sat by the window, looked at them with great interest, and observed the reaction downstairs by the way from the corner of his eye. Suddenly, he frowned slightly, realizing that something was wrong. A group of people who were scared away by a grenade just now started to gather together one by one, and then approached 25 number quietly. The corners of Zhang Yi's mouth curled up slightly. While these people were negotiating, they suddenly launched an attack, which Zhang Yi expected. After all, in the entire 25 number, the most powerful combat power is Zhang Yi. It can even be said that more than 99% of the combat power comes from the weapons in Zhang Yi's hands. Now Zhang Yi was held up by the negotiations upstairs, and the others took the opportunity to sneak up and attack, and then 125 number in one fell swoop. This is a very classic strategy. Unfortunately, Zhang Yi is not stupid. With more than 1,000 people outside the building, would he be unguarded? Looking at those people who were ready to move, Zhang Yi said to the 5 building managers in front of him, "Did you arrange someone to come and attack us while we are negotiating?" Wang Qiang and the others heard the words, but their faces were full of bewilderment. Wang Qiang smiled disapprovingly. "What are you talking about? We are all here, and then let someone come over to sneak attack. Isn't that playing with our own lives?" Zhang Yi smiled lightly. "I think so. But in that case, you have to check it out after you go back. These people are most likely not arranged in advance by the 5 people in front of them." After all, they knew that Zhang Yi had a gun in his hand and could easily kill them all. Then there are only 2 explanations. Or, the other building leaders choose to abandon them, use them as bait to divert Zhang Yi's attention, and then carry out a surprise attack on 25 number. Or, it was their own subordinates who wanted to seize power and launched an attack regardless of their life or death. Li Jian understood immediately. His face turned pale, and he stood up suddenly. "They are attacking." Wang Qiang, Huang Shai and Fang, Chen Lingai and Zhang Yunian's expressions changed upon hearing this. This group of damn things, who told them to do this? Zhang Yi still had a cold smile on his face. He suddenly reached out and picked up the big black sniper from under his feet. "Everyone sit down for me." Zhang Yi shouted loudly and pointed the black muzzle of the gun at the 5 people in front of him. Uncle Yu also rushed in with people immediately, blocking all their paths. When the 5 people saw the big sniper, they were already scared out of their wits. "Zhang Yi, we really didn't do it. Don't shoot, don't." Wang Qiang sweated anxiously, and Chen Lingai couldn't hold it anymore. She just sat down on the ground. Her pants became even more wet. Zhang Yi ignored them, turned around, and put the sniper rifle on the windowsill. The people downstairs have already started to gather towards the temporary main entrance of 25 number, and it only takes a moment to launch an impact. Zhang Yi pointed at a tall figure in the crowd and pulled the trigger. Boom. The roar reverberated in the neighborhood, and the head of the 11 number building suddenly had a brain hole, and red and white things splashed on the snow. The people below who wanted to sneak attack were also stunned. Boom. The second shot continued to sound, and another head was pierced. Only at this time did the stunned people come to their senses and ran away desperately, or just crawled in the snow. Zhang Yi's cold eyes were like the god of death, and he continued to harvest life mercilessly. Out of joking, instead of hitting those who were running back desperately this time, he aimed at the guys lying on the ground. "Voldemort? Do you think you are smart? Then I just want to kill you." The sound of the big gun echoed throughout the neighborhood, and the person lying on the ground twitched, and his head exploded. In the negotiation room, the 5 building leaders were also deeply shocked by this scene. Seeing Zhang Yi shoot and kill with their own eyes, they realized how terrifying this man was. Chapter 118 Zhang Yi-039's kindness will not end in one lifetime. Zhang Yi killed more than a dozen people in one go. By the way, have you ever played the game of smashing tadpoles? In spring, there will be many tadpoles in the stream, wandering in the stream in groups. You throw a stone in, and the group of tadpoles will disperse with a wow, which is very interesting. When Zhang Yi killed someone, it felt like smashing a tadpole. Seeing the crowd gathered together, I picked the conspicuous ones inside and killed them, and then the others were scared out of their wits, and ran for their lives in a panic. The residents who were still alive watched the people around them die. Their bodies are still stained with the blood and brains of others. This deterrent effect is undoubtedly huge. Let them no longer have the courage to resist in a short time. Seeing that they were terrified, Zhang Yi slowly put away his sniper rifle. Then he turned around and faced the stunned five again. He just said lightly, "Have you thought it through?" Even Wang Qiang and Huang Shai and Fang, who were usually the most vicious, felt their legs trembling at this moment. That is the aura of human beings for thermal weapons. Wang Qiang gulped down a mouthful of saliva with difficulty, then raised his hand and said, "I agree with the two conditions you proposed." Huang Shai and Fang also said, "I have no objection either." Then came Zhang Yunian and Chen Lingaiyu. They didn't say anything. They probably didn't know how to express their voices. They could only raise their hands in agreement. Seeing that the other four had compromised, Li Jian raised his right hand bitterly. "I agree." The corners of Zhang Yi's mouth curled up slightly. "Well, start working today. Then tomorrow afternoon I will notify you to come and collect supplies. Also, be sure to do a good job. I will keep an eye on you. Don't play tricks on me." Several people nodded in agreement. Zhang Yichen waved to them. "You go back." Li Jian left the negotiating room first with his head downcast, followed by Zhang Yunian. Chen Lingaiyu's walking posture was a bit strange. Her legs were tightly clamped, as if she was afraid that something would flow out. Wang Qiang and Huang Shai and Fang dawdled and did not leave in a hurry. Zhang Yi, can you give me your pack of cigarettes? After all, we are partners now." Wang Qiang pointed to the cigarette in Zhang Yi's hand, his eyes full of longing. Huang Shai was in a hurry. He was afraid that Wang Qiang would eat it alone. "Wang Qiang, don't try to eat it alone." He turned his head and showed a flattering smile to Zhang Yi. "Zhang Yi, I haven't smoked for a long time. Can you give it to me?" Zhang Yi glanced at them, picked up the half pack of cigarettes, and threw it on the ground. "You guys share it yourself." The two of them fell to the ground at the same time like a vicious dog rushing for food. The two big men scuffled on the ground for half Baolig one regardless of their appearance. "Wang Qiang, you little bastard, how dare you rob me of your uncle?" "Old man Huang, don't seek death. Let me go quickly. Bring it here." In the end, the cigarette packs were torn apart by two people, and each of them snatched a few cigarettes and left the negotiation building with glaring eyes. The crisis in building 25 number is temporarily lifted. Zhang Yi put away the sniper rifle and sat on the chair with an extremely indifferent expression. Because today's result is obviously not ideal. He originally expected to kill all the landlords of the other 29 buildings in one fell swoop today. However, that is ideal after all, and the current situation is not bad. On the surface, they have reached a cooperation with them, and then let them kill each other, and finally find a suitable opportunity to start. Zhang Yi was not in a hurry. Because of sufficient supplies and a superior living environment, he will always stand at the commanding heights of time. After the 5 building managers left, everyone in 25 number breathed a sigh of relief and hurried over to ask Zhang Yi about the results of the meeting. Zhang Yi told them, under my deterrent force, they compromised. In the future, we need to provide them with food for 300 people in exchange for peace. Moreover, everyone needs to participate in the labor. In the future, we will develop land, carry out agricultural planting, and adhere to sustainable development routines. A group of neighbors were dumbfounded. Food for 300 people. Can this be done? And we gave them all the food. What can we do? No one understood why Zhang Yi proposed such a condition. After all, when Zhang Yi made a decision, he never discussed with them at all. Zhang Yi explained unhurriedly, if this agreement is not reached, what do you want to do? Are you really going to fight thousands of people in the entire community? He sneered and said, I don't care. I'm not afraid of their number, but can you stand it? A group of neighbors looked at each other in blank dismay, and no one had the face to speak anymore. 25% of the force value of the entire 99 number is on Zhang Yi alone. Zhang Yi has powerful firepower and an almost impenetrable fortress. If people leave, regardless of their words, they can still live well. But what should they do? Isn't it going to be killed by the angry community owners and made into skewers? Zhang Yi said lightly, you don't have to worry too much. I will try my best to find food. No matter what, I will not let you starve to death. The neighbors raised their heads. The light in their eyes was moved, unbelievable, and tears were shining. Zhang Yi, you. A woman choked up. You really? I cried. Zhang Yi, you are going to carry the pressure of the entire 25 number on one person. I will really thank you. Zhang Yi, we did not misunderstand you. You are a leader worthy of our respect. The neighbors were teary-eyed and very moved. The pressure of searching for food is all on Zhang Yi alone. Zhang Yi sighed lightly, and his tone became softer. His gaze swept across the crowd slowly, his tone dignified and deep. Don't cry, everyone. I know you have had some opinions about me in the past, and thought I was a bad person. But no matter what you think of me, I hope from the bottom of my heart that everyone can live a good life. It's not just me, Zhang Yi, but every one of you. Zhang Yi wiped his tears and said loudly, Brother Zhang. Don't worry, we will definitely remember your kindness. We will never let you down. The other neighbors also nodded one after another, discussing in low voices. Actually, think about it carefully. Although Zhang Yi killed 82 people, the people he killed deserve to die. He didn't take the initiative to attack those people. Zhang Yi is just protecting himself. He is actually very kind to us. Maybe we have misunderstood him in the past. He is such a good person. Anyway, from now on, I will fully support Zhang Yi and safeguard all his decisions. Zhang Yi's kindness will last forever. Chapter 119. Zhang Yi moved the neighbors and told them to wipe away their tears and go back to work. Only Uncle Yu stayed. He walked up to Zhang Yi and looked at Zhang Yi suspiciously for a long time, as if he had never known Zhang Yi. If you look at me like this, do I have a young woman on my face? Zhang Yi asked with a smile. Uncle Yu looked a little embarrassed, and he shook his head. No. I just think you are a little strange today, not like you in the past. Zhang Yi knew what Uncle Yu was thinking. There was a smile on the corner of his mouth, and his eyelids drooped slightly. Do you not understand why I reached such a cooperation agreement with him? Uncle Yu nodded. Indeed, I always feel compromising, which is not like your past style. That is to provide food for 300 people every day. Just relying on Zhang Yi's snowmobile transportation is very laborious. And with so many people, so many mouths, how many supermarkets would have to be dug out of the snow to feed them? Uncle Yu was very puzzled. In his cognition, Zhang Yi is not a bad person, but he is definitely not a weak and deceitful person, let alone a saint who is merciful to others. Zhang Yi didn't rush to explain, but glanced outside the door, pointed to the other side and said, Is there anyone outside? Hearing this, Uncle Yu immediately went over to observe, and only went back after confirming that there was no one around. There's no one around. Zhang Yi nodded. Some words must be kept secret and cannot be heard by outsiders. Otherwise, his hard work of using his acting skills to fool the neighbors just now would be in vain. Zhang Yi said to Uncle Yu, cooperating with them is just a stopgap measure. I originally planned to call all the building leaders over today and kill them all. At that time, all the units will have no leaders, and they will fall into chaos again. In that case, I will have a chance to break through one by one. But today, they only sent 5 people here. Although they are the 5 most powerful building leaders, killing them won't help. After all, the others have already formed an alliance. Then I have to endure the killing intent and show my weakness first, making them think that I dare not fight against the people in 29 apartment buildings at the same time. So I compromised with them. When Uncle Yu heard this, his eyes lit up. He gave Zhang Yi a thumbs up. It turned out to be like this. That's right. I just said, what you did before is not like your character. Zhang Yi nodded happily. Do you understand? Uncle Yu shook his head. Although I don't understand it, it makes sense. Zhang Yi. He took a deep breath, but rolled his eyes in his heart. Well, to put it simply, let them be paralyzed first. Then wait for them to show their flaws, and then deal with them. And, I also dug 2 big holes for them. When Zhang Yi said this, a devilish smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Uncle Yu was addicted to hearing this, and hurriedly said, "Tell me carefully." Zhang Yi glanced at the door, pointed to the other side and said, "Go and see if there is anyone." Uncle Yu thought that Zhang Yi had seen a figure, so he hurried over. As a result, after searching for a long time, I still didn't see any figure. He came back a little confused and said to Zhang Yi, "I didn't see anyone." Zhang Yi said, "Oh, I didn't see it either." Just to make sure again. "What if someone came over while we were talking?" "Uncle Yu." Zhang Yi cleared his throat. Ahem. "Okay, let's continue. The first thing I dug for them is the limited amount of supplies. There are only 10 copies for each building. In this way, the supplies in the future will definitely not be enough to eat. As the saying goes, if you don't change the few, you will suffer from inequality. When I distribute food to them, everyone can see it. But after the leaders of each building took the food back, they didn't distribute it to everyone. Guess what will happen to each unit building at this time? Uncle Yu is smart this time. They will have civil strife." "Yes, it's civil strife." Zhang Yi nodded. "Residents who can't get food will just get hope and then fall into deeper despair. That kind of pain is worse than death." Although they had no food before, everyone was starving and had no food at that time. At least everyone was fair. Even if they die first, others cannot avoid the fate of freezing to death and starving to death. The smile on the corner of Zhang Yi's mouth grew stronger. However, once they know that 10 people in each building can get long-term and stable food to survive, do you think the mentality will still be the same? After Uncle Yu thought about it for a while, he suddenly felt creepy. This method of playing with people's hearts is simply too cruel. Give you hope first, and then completely deprive you of it. Everyone should face death fairly, but some people use your sacrifice to gain hope of life. This feeling of being trampled, discriminated against, and treated differently can drive people completely crazy. Zhang Yi looked out the window, and with the departure of the 5 building leaders, people from other units also slowly dispersed. Soon, brutal struggles and killings will take place inside each unit building. People who are extremely desperate will forget the fear of death. Before they die, they have to pull it back. That way things get interesting later on. Zhang Yi said with a smile. Looking at Zhang Yi's calm appearance, Uncle Yu felt both admiration and fear in his heart. He was very glad that he was not on the opposite side of Zhang Yi. "Zhang Yi, you are so smart and scary," Uncle Yu said with emotion. But Zhang Yi shook his head. His gaze was still as calm as the ice and snow outside the window. "No, although I have some intelligence, I don't think of myself as a character who is extremely intelligent and can play people with his mind. The reason why it has become the current situation is because I'm more calm than them. I eat well and rest warmly, and I can sleep soundly every day without worrying about food and temperature. I have powerful firepower in my hands, and I have the confidence to fight head on with them. I have a strong fortress, and I'm not afraid of their threats. When these conditions are met, I will not be afraid or confused. On the contrary, they will look forward and backward, and their IQ will hardly be online." Having said that, Zhang Yi jokingly made a joke with Uncle Yu. "Even a world-class champion loses to me in the ring after starving for 30 days. Isn't it?" Uncle Yu was stunned for a moment. Being hungry for 30 days. "Isn't that a dead person?" Zhang Yi said confidently. "That's right. How can a dead man beat me?" When Uncle Yu heard this at first, he thought it seemed to be sophistry, but after thinking about it carefully, he felt that it was really a wise saying. Chapter 120 Strategies for Weary Soldiers. Zhang Yi said to Uncle Yu, "What I used was not a conspiracy, but a conspiracy. That group of people are not all idiots. There are also smart people. For example, guys like Li Jian and Chen Lingai who have 108 twists and turns in their heads. They definitely guessed that my purpose was to weaken their power. But so what? I have already demonstrated my formidable force, and I have used enough benefits to attract the idiots among them. And the proportion of idiots among the mob is much higher than that of smart people. Li Jian and Chen Lingai can't control the right to speak, and they don't have enough strength to convince everyone. Those who only see immediate benefits and cut off their arms will always be the majority. It's like Liu Yilong who destroyed the Great Wall and killed General Tan Daoji. Zhang Yi couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Emperors in ancient times would do such stupid things, let alone the people in this small community in the corner of Xianhei. Uncle Yu was stunned when he heard this. His cultural level is not enough to support him to understand Zhang Yi's words, so he can only look at Zhang Yi with wise eyes. He scratched his head. What you said makes sense. Haha, haha. He could only hide his embarrassment with a smile. So he changed the subject and then asked, but why did you let them farm? It's impossible to grow crops in such a cold weather, right? Zhang Yi looked out the door. This time, Uncle Yu learned to be smart and took the initiative to check the surrounding situation and then said, there is no human hair outside, you can rest assured. Zhang Yi said with a smile, some things are actually very simple, don't think too complicated. I asked them to farm just to intensify their conflicts and consume their physical strength at the same time. He spread his hands. After all, the only thing they can pay now is worthless physical strength. Uncle Yu frowned and thought about it for a long time before choking out a sentence. Is this the strategy for weary soldiers? That's what it means. Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes slightly. I didn't kill all their building leaders today. When we fight again next time, there will definitely be more people to kill. I must weaken every ounce of their fighting power as much as possible. As Zhang Yi said, he moved closer to Uncle Yu with a serious look in his eyes. None of these people can be trusted. The conflict between me and them is difficult to reconcile. Sooner or later we will still fight. So we can't relax during this period. The other things you said to me must be kept secret. After this exchange, Uncle Yu was deeply impressed by Zhang Yi's wisdom. He nodded slowly and vigorously. I understand. Zhang Yi, now our family's hope of survival is pinned on you. I will do whatever you ask me to do. Zhang Yi nodded with a gratified smile. Okay, then let's follow the plan. Then let's see where they can go. What Zhang Yi told Uncle Yu was only part of the truth. In fact, he has more backhands that he didn't tell him. Because Zhang Yi already knew that someone in 25 number colluded with people from other buildings in private. The inner ghost has attacked him before, and he will definitely attack him in the future. Just like that time, when the Wild Wolf gang ambushed him in the snow. Zhang Yi returned to his residence, and took a look at Zhao Ke's room through the surveillance. Now Zhao Ke is being more tightly controlled by Zhang Yi. After all, the big battle is coming. Even if Zhang Yi believes that Zhao Ke is not stupid enough to betray him, it's okay to be careful. If he loses, he will lose his life. No one is careless in the face of life and death. Zhao Ke's mobile phone was confiscated by Zhang Yi, and when Zhang Yi went out, he would lock her in her hut and not allow her to come out. But Zhao Ke's self-regulation ability is quite good. She is a smart woman who knows what to do and what not to do. At the very least, she will not challenge Zhang Yi's authority, so whatever Zhang Yi asks her to do, she will do it honestly. After all, she is the maid and Zhang Yi is the master, and the command of the master is absolute. At this time, Zhao Ke was doing yoga in her room. She was wearing a pink low-cut suspender shirt on her upper body, and her full breasts rose and fell with her graceful movements, which made people worry that the thin clothes would not be able to bear the weight and would fall off. The lower body is a pair of brown yoga pants, showing her perfect leg lines in front of her eyes. The elegant split pony is presented straight on the floor. From the straight calves to the sensual thighs, it can be seen that there is no lack of exercise on weekdays. Zhang Yi walked to her door, took out the key, and opened the door. Zhao Ke raised her head to look at Zhang Yi. Her hair was wet with fine sweat on her forehead, and a strand of beautiful hair stuck to her forehead, showing a trace of indescribable charm. You're back. Zhao Ke was very happy to see Zhang Yi, and stood up with her legs bent, with a sincere smile in her eyes. She knew that Zhang Yi was going to do something important today, and seeing Zhang Yi's relaxed expression at this time, it was obvious that the conversation went well. Zhao Ke walked up to Zhang Yi, wrapped his hands around his neck, and asked with sparkling eyes, "What's the result of the negotiation?" Her figure was too turbulent. Just approaching like this, she naturally squeezed on Zhang Yi's chest. There is only one word to describe that feeling. Just one more look, and it will explode. Get a little closer and get melted. Zhang Yi didn't feel melted, but became stronger. He hugged Zhao Ke, kissed her hard, and then lay his arms around her on the bed. For the next few days, we'll be like this. Zhang Yi told Zhao the content of the negotiation. This may not make much sense, it's just that, when a man is doing some big things, he wants to find a woman to talk to. These days may be chaotic, you are still the same, stay at home, and don't go anywhere. Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes and his tone became cold. After a while, the trouble will disappear completely. Zhao leaned on Zhang Yi's chest, listening to what she didn't understand, because Zhang Yi only gave a general introduction, but didn't touch the important part. But she still showed a happy smile. Because Zhang Yi didn't let her go out to take risks, it shows that he still cares about her. For a woman, nothing is more important than this. Zhang Yi, you must be carrying a lot of things. But I can't help you with anything. Sometimes, I really feel that I'm quite useless. There was a trace of guilt in Zhao Ken's heart. Zhang Yi looked down at her and said in his heart, I bought insurance not to pay back the fare, but to have a backstop in case something happens one day. You attending doctor, I wish I could never use it for the rest of my life. Zhao Ken's complexion suddenly became ruddy, and he poked his right hand down. That's all I can do for you now, at least it can help you relax. Don't accumulate too much negative energy. Chapter 121 Harmony. In the next period of time, the focus of the conflict was not on Zhang Yi's side. Rather, it is between other unit buildings, as well as inside each unit building. Through a negotiation, Zhang Yi succeeded in causing a rift in their loose alliance. And taking advantage of the condition that each building has only 10 food, it also created a huge hidden danger inside them. Later, he will observe when and in what form conflicts occur. But no matter what the result is, there are only benefits for Zhang Yi, and there is no harm. Sure enough, just as Zhang Yi expected, when Wang Qiang, Huang Xian Fang, Li Jian, Chen Lingyu, and Zhang Yunian went back that day, conflicts erupted. When the 5 people were still negotiating with Zhang Yi, some people, regardless of their life and death, began to lead people to try to attack 25 number. If Zhang Yi hadn't been intimidated by Zhang Yi's big sniper at that time, then in the end, the 5 of them would definitely not have survived. So the 5 people were all angry. After leaving 25 number, these people began to liquidate the group of people who made the decision at the beginning. Throughout the afternoon, the entire community screamed continuously, and the bloody cleaning began. But the next day, life seemed to be calm again. No matter how many people died, those who survived had to continue to live desperately. And in each building, people were also sent to the central square to carry out snow removal activities. Zhang Yi knew that those building leaders must have concealed the matter of 10 supplies tacitly. Otherwise, most residents would not go downstairs to work so obediently. Today's snowstorm seems to be a little lighter than usual. There are thousands of people in the entire community, and it has been a long time since they can gather in such a harmonious way, and the purpose is not to fight for supplies, but to work together. Everyone held tools in their hands, and looked at the neighbors in the community, who were also working. The smiles on their faces were a little awkward at first, but then became warm. It's been a long time since we came out together. Before the snowstorm didn't come, our community was so lively. Yeah, everyone will come out for a walk at night. I remember that your family has a big golden retriever, which is very cute. Hey, yes. Our family's Arjun is very good, so good that it makes people feel distressed. Even if you beat him with a stick or chop him with a knife, he won't bite. Hey, let's not talk about it. I will raise another one after the snowstorm is over. I'm afraid that at that time, we can only raise polar bears. Let's work quickly. Our building manager said that the more we work, the more food we will get. Yes, we have to work. Let's experience the life of a farmer. In the future, there will be a rush. An old man looked up at the sky. The sky was grey and grey, but he always felt that he could see the faintly visible sun. It seems that the snow cloud is about to leave, and the bright sun will shine for thousands of miles, dispelling all the cold. We have reached a peace agreement in our community, so we don't have to fight and kill all day long. We can also eat enough and wear warm clothes. The days are getting better and better, the uncle said with a gratified smile. The atmosphere in the whole community became extremely harmonious. Everyone was talking and laughing while working. Although the blizzard was still going on, everyone felt that it was not so hard because they had hope in their hearts. Even because of the large number of people, the temperature has increased a lot. Wang Qiang and other building managers brought their own subordinates to supervise the work. And the neighbors are so used to it that they don't even think it's wrong for them to enjoy the most resources without doing anything. As a manager, Li Jian is the only one who is still working hard. Different from other people's happy appearance, he has a serious expression on his face, lowered his head without saying a word, and shoveled the snow vigorously. Zhang Yi came downstairs fully armed. Seeing this scene, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. "Hey, Zhang Yi, are you going out to find supplies?" Huang Xian from the unit building next door waved to Zhang Yi from afar, and at the same time, did not forget to raise two fingers to signal Zhang Yi not to forget the cigarettes he had promised. Zhang Yi smiled and said, "Yes, everyone is working, and I can't be idle. Don't worry, your cigarettes are indispensable." From another direction, Wang Qiang's voice from 21 number also came over. "Zhang Yi, can you do it alone? If there are too many things to handle alone, I will go with you." Zhang Yi laughed loudly and said, "Look at what you said, don't I have a snowmobile? With it on my back, no matter how many things I can handle. That's it, you wait for me to come back. By the way, let everyone not slack off and work hard. You have to check the progress when I come back. If you don't do a good job, you will deduct food," Zhang Yi said with a strong smile. Then, he pretended to go to the back garage, and soon the sound of the engine came, and he rode away on the snowmobile. Watching Zhang Yi go away, Wang Qiang's face was a little gloomy. "Where is his car? I've searched all over the place, but it's not there." But Huang Shai and Fang murmured in a low voice, "So that thing is called a snowmobile, not a sledge." Zhang Yi left the community, looked back at the harmonious scene in the community, feeling inexplicably ironic. But he didn't have time to feel sorry for those leaks. Although they have no grievances with Zhang Yi, but too many of them are a threat. It is not harmful to Zhang Yi to let their people solve themselves. When Zhang Yi went out this time, he didn't go straight to the supermarket, but came to the Xianhe Pearl shopping mall in Xianhe City. Xianhe Pearl is a well-known old shopping mall in Xianhe City, with a history of 70 years. In Xianhe City, a place where every inch of land is expensive, Xianhe Pearl's products are famous for their high quality and low price. The main body of Xianhe Pearl is a 12-story shopping mall building. There are almost no big brand stores in it, and most of them are small shops of 2 square meters. It sells cheap jewelry and mostly fake clothing. In addition, there are also shops selling underwear, hardware products, and repairing trouser legs. Zhang Yi came here because he knew there was a veterinary shop here. After coming to Xianhe Mingsu, the main body of the building is also inserted in the snow, exposing the upper half of the body. Zhang Yi found a suitable location and broken through the window. Since there are basically cheap goods here, Zhang Yi has no interest, so he ignores other shops and rushes to the veterinary shop. After a while, he found the veterinary shop. Zhang Yi smashed the glass with a crowbar, got inside, and began to rummage through the medicine cabinet. Today is not the ancient times. You can't buy arsenic in the pharmacy. You can buy deadly pesticides from pesticide sellers, but with such a strong smell, unless you are fooling around. But there is one thing that is colorless and odorless, but has a very powerful lethal ability, and that is rat poison. Chapter 122. We all have a bright future. Rat medicine is a popular product in veterinary stores, so there is a lot of stock in stock. Soon, Zhang Yi found 2 boxes, a total of more than 30 bottles of rat poison. With this amount, if you want to kill 300 people with medicine, it should be no problem, right? Even if they can't eat them to death, at least they will suffer from internal organ failure. If they don't get treatment, they will definitely die. Zhang Yi looked at the small bottle in his hand, with a smile on the corner of his mouth. Didn't they ask Zhang Yi to help collect food? No problem, they are not afraid of death. Of course Zhang Yi has nothing to say. All I can say is, thank them for their trust in Zhang Yi. However, the matter of prescribing drugs should not be rushed. Especially in the first few times, they must be cautious and let others eat first. But can they be so careful every time? Zhang Yi felt that they couldn't do it, especially now that there was a lack of food. The onset time of rat poison is 10 to 30 minutes, so he checked it out. Even if they let people test drugs, not everyone understands this knowledge. Find a suitable opportunity and kill you all with drugs. This is the best ending. Zhang Yi smiled and took all the rat poison into his different space. After finishing the rat poison, Zhang Yi was not in a hurry to go back. After all, he has to act as if he has struggled to find 300 meals. After walking out of the veterinary shop, Zhang Yi looked around. Almost all of them were selling cheap clothes and underwear. Suddenly, an idea came to his mind. I don't lack clothes, but I still need fuel. Most of these clothes are made of chemical fibers, which are very harmful to the body when burnt, and the smoke is black and thick. Hey, when the time comes, it will definitely be useful to deal with those sneaky fish who hide in the building and refuse to come out. As soon as Zhang Yi came up with this idea, he clapped his hands happily. He thinks he is a genius for destroying things. It seems that every boy has been a genius of destruction since he was a child. Moreover, when he thought that he could set a big fire openly and no one would care, he actually began to look forward to it in his heart. Who isn't a brat? Zhang Yi did what he said and used the different space to collect all the messy clothes. It didn't take long for clothes from dozens of storefronts to find their way into his space. He doesn't want too much, as long as there is enough fuel. Why do you need so much? There are so many cheap women's underwear, panties and so on. If he keeps them, he will feel abnormal. Zhang Yi waited until the time was almost up before going to the Wanda Mall in the development zone. The Yahoo supermarket below is very big, and it is easy to get meals. Looking at it like this, it won't be a problem to maintain it for another month. After all, he was only responsible for the food for basic survival, not for them to eat to their fullest. He packed the junk food in a snackiskin bag, then removed 2 pieces of iron and tied it to the back of his snowmobile. In this way, a simple sledge is ready. After finishing these, Zhang Yi drove his motorcycle back to Yulu community. At around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the sky was getting darker, and there were no people in the community. The time they can work outside is limited, and it is impossible to really work for a day. Zhang Yi cautiously took out his pistol, put the safety on with a click, and walked over to observe it. Many pits were dug out in the snow, and the snow was piled up to the outer area. Zhang Yi made a rough estimate. With regard to the amount of labor, at least they would have to work for 2 or 3 hours. It's almost the same. In the state of lack of food and clothing, they must have exhausted their physical strength after working for so long. I'd love to see the despair and madness they feel when they find out they've worked a hard day and found out that the promised food didn't arrive. Zhang Yi's tone was cold, as if he was talking about a trivial matter that had nothing to do with him. He took out his mobile phone from his pocket, contacted Uncle Yu, Zhang Yi, and Li Chengbin to bring someone over. Soon, Uncle Yu and the others came out with weapons. Seeing that Zhang Yi really brought back a lot of food, Zhang Yi and the others were startled. Zhang Yi, where did you get so much food? Everyone's eyes were full of suspicion. In the past, Zhang Yi only brought back about servings of food for them every day. I didn't expect to get 10 times the weight this time. This made them a little imbalanced, thinking that Zhang Yi was engaging in hunger marketing to them, deliberately not letting them eat. Holding the mobile phone, Zhang Yi notified the building managers to send someone over to pick up the food, while explaining casually, I ran to a place farther away to look for it this time. The city is huge, and the farther away the place is, the more dangerous it is. I didn't want to go there before, but now I have to look for it under special circumstances. After all, the weather is cold and freezing. The farther away from home the more dangerous. A neighbor nodded. It's true. Zhang Yi goes out to find food every day, and the risk is very high. I also think it would be terrible if the car broke down. Li Chengbin looked at Zhang Yi, but frowned slightly, obviously not very convinced of Zhang Yi's statement. But he didn't say anything, just stood aside silently holding his weapon. After a while, people from other buildings came over. But among the people who came, none of them were the owners of the buildings. They were just their subordinates. Zhang Yi let out a sneer in his heart. These guys are really cautious enough, and they are worried that they will be taken over by him. Zhang Yi didn't say much nonsense, starting from the first building. Come here one by one to get the food. He took out a dagger and tore open the snacker skin pocket. He had packed the food in a large plastic bag a long time ago. One bag is enough food for 10 people. Zhang Yi bent down to pick up a bag and then threw it on the snow 2 or 3 meters away in front of him, letting them pick it up by themselves. Those people didn't talk nonsense, just picked up the things and left. Soon, the supplies will be distributed. Zhang Yi asked people from #25 to gather in the corridor again and distributed supplies to them, and everyone's faces showed joyful expressions. After distributing the food, the expression on Zhang Yi's face was more warm than usual. He smiled and said to everyone, "From now on, you don't have to be so nervous all the time. Although you can't give up the weapons in your hands, you have already seen the dawn of dawn. We all have a bright future. Neighbors, you look at me, I look at you. The excitement is beyond words. If that is really possible, even if they need to work every day, they will not have any complaints." Zhang Yi smiled and clapped his hands. "Okay, let's go back quickly. We have to continue working tomorrow." The big guys returned to their respective residences obediently. That night, for the first time, they were able to relax a little and have a good meal. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 123. Zhang Yi doesn't need to do anything complicated for the time being. He only needs to go out every day to pretend to collect food and then distribute it to the neighbors in the community. And then there's a delightful thing to do, laughing at the conflicts within other unit buildings. Disintegrating the enemy is always fastest from within. Zhang Yi returned home and checked the situation in the house with the monitoring of his mobile phone as usual. After confirming that there was nothing abnormal in the house and that Zhao Kenna was also in her own room, Zhang Yi opened the door and walked in. He opened the door for Zhao Kenna and then went to take a hot bath. After being outside all day, the winter clothes kept him from frostbite, but the skin still felt the cold, causing the pores to shrink. Only when the shower head was turned on and the hot water splashed onto his hair and covered his whole body with a bang did he relax his vigilance. Zhang Yi reached out and washed his face vigorously, feeling extremely happy. It won't last long like this. As long as I get rid of all those bad guys, I will find a way to leave this place and find a comfortable area to live again. It has been a month since he was reborn, and Zhang Yi has killed most of the enemies who killed him in the first place. And the method of revenge is definitely more ruthless than what they did to Zhang Yi in the previous life. Next, Zhang Yi cleaned up the entire community, and naturally they would be cleaned up as well. At that time, I will find a way to dismantle the safe house and move it to another place. The quality of the safe house is very strong. Zhang Yi's current plan is to find a large amount of explosives and blast the entire building. And other things in the safe house can be stored in a different space. As for the shell of the safe house, it was made of light and strong aviation metal. Even if it fell into the snow, it would hardly be damaged. After all, this thing can withstand the friction of the spacecraft returning to the planet from space. Come on, it won't take too long to deal with these guys. A happy smile appeared on Zhang Yi's face. In the near future, he chose to bury his hatred and pain in this place, and then start a new life. After taking a bath, Zhang Yi came to Zhao Ke's door wrapped in a bath towel, and opened the door for her. Zhao Ke sat on the bed with a blushing face, her long straight legs tightly clamping her hands, as if she was trying to endure something. As soon as Zhang Yi opened the door, she lowered her head, not daring to look at Zhang Yi, and rushed to the toilet in a panic. Zhang Yi rubbed his chin. Could it be that she was? Impossible. I have been feeding her recently, so I can't do it to this extent. Soon, Zhang Yi heard the clear sound of water. He suddenly realized, and then he slapped his head. I've been locked up for a whole day. She must be exhausted. There was a smirk on the corner of his mouth. She is very particular. She is so overwhelmed that she refuses to use the mineral water bottle. Not long after, Zhao Ke came out of the bathroom blushing. After holding it in for too long, she seemed to have collapsed. Zhang Yi walked over, put his arms around her slender waist with one hand, and held her white wrist with the other. Are you alright? Zhao Kena widened his eyes and gave Zhang Yi a hard look, as if he was asking, I'm already like this, why are you still here? Zhang Yi chuckled, you know, I like to be rough. Zhao Kena's distressed appearance aroused Zhang Yi's interest instead. Regardless of Zhao Kena's annoyance and embarrassment at this time, he forcibly hugged her and then threw her onto the sofa. Soon, a melodious sound sounded in the room, accompanied by a high-frequency beat. The original way of communication is actually very decompressing. Only at this time, Zhang Yi can forget all troubles. While Zhang Yi was enjoying the joy of being a human being at home, the building leaders of other units also received food from their subordinates. Looking at the food in the plastic bag, these building leaders had different expressions, but most of them were a little disappointed. The food for 10 people is only the basic amount for a day, and a plastic bag can fit it. On the side of the crazy wolf gang, Wan Qiang rushed up and tore open the plastic bag regardless of the little brother beside him, and after pawing for a long time, he finally pulled out a bag of Jinwan from inside. Wan Qiang's eyes lit up immediately, and he held the pack of cigarettes, as if he had found a treasure. Not only him, but the younger brothers around him also had their eyes straightened, and even started to wriggle their throats. These guys are all old smokers. Because of the end of the world, they haven't smoked for nearly a month. They are going crazy, and their tempers are extremely violent. Now that there is smoke, can you not get excited? Xiao Lu, the second in command next to him, couldn't help but said, Boss, can I have one of this pack of cigarettes? Seeing this, the other younger brothers bravely said, Boss, give us one too. We are almost suffocating, and if we stop smoking, we will feel like dying. Wan Qiang's brows frowned suddenly, and his complexion became unkind. He has to smoke a pack of cigarettes a day on weekdays, and this pack of cigarettes is just enough for him alone. If they go out, the people in front of them will get half of the bag. But when he saw the bloodshot and crazy eyes of these younger brothers, he was shocked in his heart. After thinking about it for a while, Wan Qiang said, these cigarettes are not easy to come by. I worked hard and forced Zhang Yi to bring them to me. You are all my good brothers, so I can let you have a good time. Work hard for me in the future. The younger brothers below couldn't listen to anything. Anyway, they listened to whatever Wan Qiang said. Let them do whatever they want, as long as they can get a cigarette. Gritting his teeth, Wan Qiang gave them cigarettes one by one. His hands were shaking when he scattered the smoke, and his heart was bleeding even more. After the members of the dire wolf gang received the cigarettes, they excitedly started to light the fire, and then went to the side with tears in their eyes, to puff away the smoke. Only old smokers will understand how happy they are at this moment. It's as happy as a long-awaited widow meeting a strong young man. But the good times are short-lived after all, and it didn't take long for a cigarette to be exhausted. Wan Qiang had already stuffed the half pack of cigarettes into his pocket, and he wanted to keep it for himself to smoke. Seeing the resentful eyes of others, he pretended not to see it. Ahem, let's share the food next. Wan Qiang opened the plastic bag and saw that the things inside were bread, biscuits and other items of poor quality. However, in his eyes, this thing is a long-lost good thing. God knows how long they've been eating barbecue before wanting something normal humans eat. Wan Qiang swallowed his saliva, and instead of rushing to get the bread, he beckoned to a younger brother. The little boy walked over in a daze and saw Wan Qiang pick up a piece of bread and handed it to him with a smile. Zhu Yi, your body is the weakest, you eat first. Chapter 124 Conflict. Wan Qiang didn't dare to eat these foods directly, for fear that Zhang Yi would poison them. Zhu Yi thought that Wan Qiang had good intentions, so he took it excitedly and stuffed it into his mouth hungrily. Wan Qiang and Xiao Lu waited patiently for him to finish eating, and after a while, seeing that he was fine, they were relieved. Big guys, come here, everyone has a share. The same is happening in other unit buildings. Zhang Yi has a reputation for being fierce. After all, he was the ruthless person who killed most of the apartment building by himself. It also caused the most vicious wolf gang and Cheyenne gang in the neighborhood to suffer a big loss. Everyone is very wary of him. However, they have to eat the food delivered to their door, so most of the building manager's method is to find someone to test the poison. Zhang Yi, who is well versed in human nature, provided food on the first day without any problems. He thought very clearly that he should slowly disarm them and let those people kill each other first. Then he waited for the right time to solve all the problems in one fell swoop. That night, all the people in power in the entire community barely had a full meal. And those ordinary residents are still at home, waiting for the building manager to distribute food to them. At this time, they foolishly thought that everyone had a share of food and that they could live forever. Honey, we don't have to worry anymore. Someone will bring us food and we'll work hard. Well, husband, we can survive the snowstorm. At that time, I will give you 3 children, one like you, one like me, and one like the 2 of us. Dad, Mom, you must have blessed me in heaven, which made me persist until now. Don't worry, everything is fine. There will be no more hunger and killing, and I will live well. That night, the building leaders of each unit building and their subordinates devoured the food distributed to them for 10 people, and those ordinary residents clutched their hungry bellies and fell asleep with difficulty in their blissful dreams. The next morning, Zhang Yi woke up after sleeping until 7 o'clock. The reason why I don't sleep late now is mainly because the temperature in the room is constant between 25 degrees and 27 degrees. The warm and comfortable environment makes people less dependent on the bed. Just as he was brushing his teeth with a cup, he heard noises coming from outside. Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows with a little devil-like smile on the corner of his mouth, and then came to the window with his naked upper body to check. Voices came from several directions, and there were at least 5 or 6 unit buildings where very violent quarrels took place. Jedamin, didn't you agree yesterday? As long as we work, you will provide us with food. Where is the food now? Didn't I say that the problem now is the same, and the situation is also the same, and everyone has seen it? As for the distribution of food, we have to hold a meeting to discuss it, and strive to come up with a plan that satisfies everyone. Brother Huang, we worked hard according to your orders. But, you didn't give us anything to eat. Oh, old clapper, you still dare to come over and question me? What kind of work are you doing? It's like relying on defense, and you dare to ask for something to eat. But you horses. You work hard for me today, and you will have food, if you do well. If we don't eat, we have no energy. HMPH, then don't blame me. Everyone's life is not good now, and no one knows how to support idlers. Wang. Chief Wang, you promised to give us something to eat yesterday. PFFT. Who else wants to eat? Stand up and show me now. There is no one. That's good. Remember, keeping you alive is my greatest charity to you, Wang Qiang. In the future, if anyone is shameless, I will chop him up directly. Zhang Yi smiled and said nothing. He knew that the cleaning had already started. In the morning, he and Zhao Keda had a simple meal, hot and spicy soup, deep fried dough sticks and steamed buns. Whose spicy soup is boiled with soup dumplings, deep fried dough sticks are semi-finished products, and Zia Long Bao is made by Zhao Keda herself. Although there are a lot of ready-made delicacies stored in the different space, Zhang Yi likes Zhao Keda's handmade food very much. He felt that there was a woman in the house. In the morning, she was busy in the kitchen wearing an apron, which was particularly lifelike. It was past 10 o'clock after breakfast. Zhang Yi left Zhao Keda with rations for lunch and locked her in the room again. Then he left the unit building, ready to go out and pretend to collect supplies. At this time, the center of the community is still busy. Uncle Liu, Jiang Lei, and Li Chengbin have Zhang Yi's special permission to not work, and they are in charge of supervising the work. Residents of other unit buildings also worked hard to shovel snow under the supervision of the building leaders of each building. It's just that their mental state has obviously changed compared to yesterday. The expression is numb, anxious, and with strong unease. Before Zhang Yi left, he leaned into Uncle Liu's ear and said, "Be more careful, there is not enough food in other units, and there will be chaos soon. Just protect ourselves, and don't cause trouble for the upper body." Uncle Liu knew Zhang Yi's plan a long time ago, so he nodded and replied in a low voice, "Don't worry, I have a measure." Only then did Zhang Yi leave the community in peace. After wandering around for a long time, he came to a library. This is a municipal library with a solid building and high floors, so it is not flooded by ice and snow, and most of the books inside are still dry. Zhang Yi didn't like reading very much in the past. In the information age, time-consuming and labor-intensive things such as reading have long been gradually eliminated. At that time, I was busy swiping my black silk beautiful legs on my mobile phone. But now, the internet is on the verge of collapse, and Zhang Yi's entertainment methods have become less, and he rarely swipes his phone. Therefore, he intends to find some collection of books to pass the time. At the same time, I also hope that I can use the contents of the book to soothe my gradually icy heart in the end times. After staying in the library for more than half a day, Zhang Yi picked up a copy of Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami and stuffed it into his wide pocket. Thick books contain a wealth of human civilization, and putting them in your pocket will make you feel the weight of a culture. The other books did not move, but stayed here, waiting to read them again when they have time in the future. Because once they were all taken away, he really might not be in the mood to do it when he got home. Back in the community, the sky had already dimmed. As usual, Zhang Yi first called Uncle Yu and others to maintain order, and then notified the people in each unit building to come down to collect food. This time, Zhang Yi saw blurred shadows appearing in front of the windows of every building. Those were human faces, looking eagerly at Zhang Yi who delivered the food. Chapter 125 Dead Silence, Sinking. The building leaders of each unit building sent people over and took the food back in an orderly manner. Zhang Yi also distributed food to the people in his unit and returned home as usual. The next day, except for Li Jian, the heads of other unit buildings still did not distribute any food to ordinary residents. So on this night, seeing the last hope completely destroyed, the residents of the community went completely crazy. The neighborhood became more lively than ever. I don't know when it started, but the sound of shouting and killing came from each unit building. The hoarse curses and desperate roars echoed in the corridor, and even the north wind could not completely cover them up. The dark night is their only cover. When these cowardly ordinary people are dying, the powerful rulers of the various units realize how powerful they are. After all, not everyone has a perfect defensive fortress and terrifying firepower like Zhang Yi. They are still in the era of cold weapons, and their superiority in numbers will have a huge impact on the battle situation. Zhang Yi sat on his warm and comfortable velvet white quilt, quietly looking out the window. The lights were off, and there was a peaceful silence, which was in stark contrast to the howling wind and snow outside, and the screams of killing. He didn't know how far it was going outside, but he understood that the more people died tonight, the better for him. Before going to bed, Zhang Yi checked the safety of the entire room for the last time, loaded his pistol and assault rifle with bullets, and finally lay down comfortably. Day 3 morning. Zhang Yi walked out of the unit building, and the scene in front of him made him gasp. The snowfield, which was originally white, was now covered with bright red. In the center of the courtyard, there were 50 or 60 corpses lying in disorder. And judging from their appearance, it seems that they were forced to jump from a high place. Some people curled up into a ball before they died. Although they were not killed by the fall, they also froze to death in the cold ice and snow after being seriously injured. Zhang Yi raised his head and scanned the surrounding apartment buildings. Stains of clotted and blackened blood were seen on many windows. One can imagine what a brutal battle last night. So much so that this morning, no one came out to clear the snow, and no one even dragged away this huge pile of corpses. The residents of 25 number stood at the door. Each and every one of them was frightened and afraid to breathe. At this time, they were extremely glad that they followed Zhang Yi. Otherwise, most of them will die now. Uncle Yu leaned over and asked, Zhang Yi, do you still have to work today? Zhang Yi glanced at Uncle Yu and then at the neighbors behind him. He said lightly, if you want to have food in the future, you have to work. Unless, he pointed to the corpse on the ground, you want to be like them. Everyone's heart froze. Compared with these dead people, they are simply too happy. At least there is no need to fight for the scarce food, and there is no need to desperately. Isn't it just work, as long as you can live? Yes, we will do it right away, right away. A group of neighbors were stimulated by the tragedy, and one by one they went to sweep the snow with their tools. Uncle Yu looked at the surrounding scene and asked Zhang Yi, it seems that no one from other units came out to sweep the snow. Should we inform them to come out? Zhang Yi glanced at him lightly and suddenly asked with a smile, do you think they have time now? Uncle Yu looked puzzled. Huh? Zhang Yi said, last night was just the beginning. This conflict happened between the people in power and ordinary residents in each unit building. Unless they can solve the food distribution problem, one party must perish. It's only one night, how can I finish killing? After Uncle Yu heard Zhang Yi's words, he instantly felt chills all over his body. Could this be the story about two peaches killing three warriors? Then let's go next. Zhang Yi said lightly, what does it have to do with us? Let them kill slowly. The right time has not yet come, and he is not in a hurry. After Zhang Yi came back in the afternoon, he distributed food to them as usual. However, he found that the people coming from several buildings had changed, and they were not members of the group he was familiar with before. It seems that in the struggle for the right to obtain food, the control rights of some unit buildings have changed hands. But it doesn't matter to him. No matter who is the building leader, he will cooperate according to the previous agreement. However, after Zhang Yi went back that night, he sent a message to the building managers of each unit. If I don't see the fruits of my labor tomorrow, there will be no guarantee for food including cigarettes. So the next day, when Zhang Yi went out, he saw the lively scene of everyone coming out to work together. It's just that today, compared to 2 days ago, the number of people has decreased by at least 1/3. In other words, due to the unfair distribution of food, at least 400 people died in the community within 2 days. Uncle Yu couldn't understand the scene in front of him. He asked Zhang Yi, these people are very clear that the 10 portions of food for each building are not their turn. But why don't they resist and fight for their own chance to survive? Hearing this, Zhang Yi suddenly smiled playfully. He pointed to the snow in front of him with his chin. Do you still remember how many corpses there were here yesterday? Uncle Yu frowned slightly. There are 70 or 80 of them outside alone, and if you count the ones inside the apartment building, there must be at least a few hundred. Zhang Yi spread his hands. Look, isn't the reason here? The food problem has been solved very well. Uncle Yu suddenly realized it can still be like this. Zhang Yi said indifferently, as long as they have something to eat, they don't dare to go all out. Most ordinary people in Huago don't have the courage to resist, unless they are forced to have no way out. Uncle Yu shook his head in confusion, but this is not a long-term solution. What should we do when we finish eating? Zhang Yi said without hesitation, then kill another wave. Uncle Yu swallowed a mouthful of saliva, and no longer knew what to say. At this moment, a woman in fur came over through the snow. Zhang Yi, I want to talk to you about cooperation again. The person who came was Chen Lingyu, the building manager of 9 number point. Her body was stained with blood. Obviously she also experienced a very brutal killing last night, but she survived. Zhang Yi smiled slightly, with a bit of disdain in his expression. You? What can I talk to? Chen Lingyu stared into Zhang Yi's eyes, trying to apply her skills in macro business for many years to him. If the community continues to develop like this, it will collapse sooner or later. There are many internal conflicts, and it is impossible to effectively manage it. Even if you can bring back more food, someone will definitely take more by force in the future. In this way, conflicts will always be aroused, and more people will die. Zhang Yifan looked at her calmly. Oh. Then. Nonsense. Could he have known such a result? Because the current situation was brought about by him alone. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.